Greetings, guys. Welcome now to the brand new episode of Redemption of the Rotten. I'm your host, MrYazMan300, and joining me for the first time is David. How you doing, David?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much, Yasman. I was about to say, don't know what Mazyan there for something like that has me
You
messed
can
it
call
up.
me Yaz if you want. It's short.
Yaz works. I probably would have still messed it up, but
That's
yes,
okay.
I'm gonna go with Yaz.
Yeah, I know some
That's
people
all
would
right.
think it's the Yaz Queen or anything. Yeah,
No. I'd never take you down that road. I'd just put an M instead of a Y for some reason, and I
yeah,
don't know why. I've got a friend called Maz. That might
yeah.
be where my brain goes to.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
All right. So how you doing, David?
yeah, I'm good, thank you. I appreciate you having me
Yeah,
on. Mortal Kombat
yeah.
1995 is it, it was a treasured memory that has been maybe tarnished. I don't know. I'm joking. I enjoy watching
Yeah,
that film. But I'm sure we'll get to that. Just
yeah,
happy to be here, Yaz.
yeah. Me too. Because it's actually, is this your first time doing a podcast?
It is not. I used to
Ah,
do a podcast for a video game website that we used to run, but it is the first time in years because it's been a long time.
ah.
So
You do have like a voice fit for podcasting, I would tell you.
thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. That's I,
Mm,
I I occasionally get a compliment on the voice, and I
yeah.
rarely get to use it. Spent a long
Mm,
time being a carer for my mum before she passed. Not to bring up
yeah.
before she passed away recently.
Oh,
So
sorry for
now
your loss.
no, it's fine. Sorry, I didn't. I
That's
feel bad
okay.
because I feel I put the tragedy in there. I'm
Uh,
gripping the people with tragedy. I do apologize also that I
that's
don't
okay.
have camera visuals.
Yeah, for those who
You're not
are,
missing out on much,
yeah, for those
but
who are
yeah.
listening, David, he's only audio only. He doesn't has the camera, but it's okay. As long as most important thing is the audio is it's the most important thing.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear it.
yeah. Because I do also, this comes in audio format and video format. In case most of the
Ah,
people want video because they want to see who's the lucky bastard who's talking on the screen. Yeah,
I have managed to evade that cruel fate
yeah,
for the time being, but no, I have watched a couple of your YouTube videos as
yeah.
well. In the run up, I think
Is
I've
one of them with
got a little.
Mark and Andy?
Yeah, Mark and Andy for Jersey Girl, which is the one I brought
Oh,
up.
thank
Yeah,
God! Thank God it's
yeah.
not the yoga houses. That's
It's not the yoga. Fair enough. I might
yeah,
get to that one day. I'm gonna
yeah.
have to.
Yeah, we do say some stuff if people listen to just like, wow, you guys are gonna get cancelled.
I
Basic,
don't think there's any danger of that with Mortal Kombat. I think we're gonna be
basically,
okay.
if you want the sort of story, is like Mark and Andy say the C word a lot. So,
Oh yeah, that is a thing, especially with Americans. They're not fans of that.
yeah,
Um,
I,
Here it's like it's every second word.
yeah,
So in the UK, so like people, yeah, it's like what is it? I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna say it.
yeah.
I'm
If you
just
want to
gonna.
know, listen, what is it? Go watch the Yoga Hauser episode. Mostly,
Yes,
also, I want
indeed.
the views to people to come and see it.
Oh yeah, go watch the Yoga Houses episode. I'm gonna watch it. So
Also, if you end up watching the Yoga Hazard, so this is also a warning. When you hear Andy say the F word, he's talking about the smoke, not something else.
yeah. Oh, that's another thing.
Yeah, he
Yes,
tells a story involving his father and his family going to the U.S.
yeah. No, I imagine that would cause complications. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
not
Like
have
I said,
flown.
if you hear him say the F word, he's talking about cigarette, not the other thing. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, at least he didn't watch the Batman Robin one. That one has lots of bad nipples talk.
A lot of bat nipple
Yeah,
talk. You know what though? You can talk about worse things. Like it's bat nipples are a hot topic of conversation.
yeah. 30 minutes we spent talking about bat nipples. That's just in the beginning of the film recap.
That's just in the beginning. Okay. That
Yeah,
you know what? I respect it. You got to get right into it. You got to get into the
yeah,
meat of it.
yeah. Man, you know what? I'm already having fun. I don't know if I want to talk about the movie.
No, no, we've got to get to it.
Yeah,
We have to discuss Mortal Kombat.
yeah.
And you feel free to take it away. Do you think?
All right now. Actually, before we begin talking, because also the movie's not that long, and there's not a lot of stuff
No.
happening because most of the movies that you see maybe that are long because we talk about also the behind the scenes stuff. This movie doesn't have some minor some casting changes we can talk about when we talk about the film. And that's it. Nothing big happened behind the scene with this. Because I reviewed Vows a few days ago, as a few weeks ago, Surf Ninja with my friend Lee. I think you might recognize him. He was also sometimes on Mark's Zoom call. He would appear. Apology. Yeah, we talked about Surf Ninja, and that movie didn't have nothing, but it's just like a normal movie that has people say, "Hey, just go make the film. You want to do a stunning vivid vehicle for our list? Can you do it?" And they did it.
You hated it, sorry.
Oh no, that movie was fine. Was it Surf Ninja? I mean, it's made mostly for the young kids, like from the '90s, like who like martial arts movies, like Surf, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and what's it, Three Ninja?
Yeah.
Yeah, this type
Well,
of
like, what are two cool things?
Yeah.
Surfing and ninjas. There
Yeah.
we go. We're making a film. Yeah, I understand.
And the one thing that will make you confused about that movie is why is Leslie Nielsen playing a guy named Colonel Chi?
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That.
that's the most confusing thing in the film.
I mean, I love Leslie Nielsen, but that sounds like that role shouldn't have went that way.
No.
So,
Especially because
yeah.
he does this movie is supposed to be a kids film, and he does something at the end of the film. It's like, okay, how the hell are they allowing him to do this?
I kind of feel like I've got to see that now. Like, but one day.
I think you can watch the movie. I saw the movie is free on YouTube. You can't find streaming things. You can watch it free on YouTube.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because that's how some of the
Honestly-
movies that are not available to stream. If you want to see them, go to YouTube.
Yeah, I heard for a while that was not Dragon's Dogma. Sorry, just Dogma.
Dogma,
Not
yeah,
Dra-
because-
Dragons. Yeah.
Like Kevin Smith was
'cause-
like, "Hey, go ahead, watch it on YouTube. Nobody has the rights."
Because the rights are all messed up, right? It's all and that's a good film. But yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't want to diverge it too much.
Yeah. No, that's
I
okay.
like
because we
Dogma.
spend a lot of time diverging stuff. I mean, sometimes I like talking with the guy guest before we get to know him before we start the episode. One of my
understand.
favorite things talking about Kai, Arvel Cyanide. He's one thing I love talking. Sometimes he comes and talks about music because I'm not a huge music guy. I love hearing him talk about music a lot. Yeah.
He's very very smart man, Kai.
Yeah.
Like, talks about a lot. I know he's really into his Star Trek, and I know.
Yeah.
His D&D stuff as well. I never really caught up with it, but I know he was getting really into that.
Yeah, I think he's happy now, especially because now the Star Trek show are getting well received by people, especially Strange World. I think Strange New World, something like this.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean,
I haven't spoken to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for it. Look, as long as they're happy and enjoying it, I'm happy for them. Even if I didn't like something, as long as they're happy. This is the reason why I made this podcast, because we look at the movie, it's like, okay, so is this movie really bad? Just people are just overreacting to it. Because sometimes also another reason because I want to roast Greg Miller or some of his bad movie taste. That's another reason.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I like. Don't get me wrong. I got love for Greg, but sometimes I'm like, oh. I mean, I'm fresh off of watching the most recent P.S. I Love You.
Is this the Stray episode?
Yeah, I think it's the best indie game of all time, a PlayStation indie, and man. Blessing just stabbing Rogue Legacy in the back. Oh, I was like, oh, Blessing, how could you do it? And Greg, I was on Greg's side with that one. Greg was all about Rogue Legacy.
Even sometimes, sometimes you will listen to people like big critics because like, wait, what did you say about this movie? Like Roger Ebert, he loves the Spawn, that original Spawn movie from the 90s.
Really? I did not know that. Okay.
And a lot of people point out that if you look at Roger Ebert, he will sometimes give bad movies a good review if it has a hot woman in it.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Not hard to figure that dude out there.
Yeah. And I remember I was watching a guy who review movies they called Double Toasted. I sometimes brought their name because I always, whenever I mention, but I have to mention them. One of them, he reviewed the film when it came out, and one of the lines when he said about positive about the film, because when he reviewed the film, he gave it a positive review, and one of the positive things he said about Spawn is that hell never looked that good, and they all looked at him. It's like, look, with today, I think he recently reviewed the film. He's like, I take everything positive I said about this movie back. You guys are all right. I should have given a negative review when I first saw it.
Fair enough. So an immediate retraction. That's from Roger Ebert. Okay.
No, it's not Roger Ebert. It's a different guy. I
think it's a different dude. Oh, okay.
I can give you the episode for the review if you guys want to see it.
I might do. Yeah, I might have a look. Yeah.
Because John Leguizamo came in and he turns the movie into like a weird comedy, gross out comedy.
John Leguizamo. It's got the power to do it.
Yeah. You saw The Pest?
I've heard about The Pest. I've never seen it. That's the one that opens with a rap, right? I think I
Yes,
heard
in the
about
shower.
that. Yeah, because a giant bomb at one point. I'm pretty sure they
Yeah.
brought it up.
Yeah, it also had real life child molester. What's his name? Jeffrey Jones. He was the principal in Ferris Bueller Day Off.
Oh, that was him.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was caught with child pornography and him taking photos of a kid and I think naked.
Oh no, man. Ferris Bueller's such a good film as well. Why is
Man, it takes a different meaning when you see the ending when he enters the bus. Would you...
Yeah, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not. And by the way, to be clear, while I am annoyed that he's basically ruined Ferris Bueller a little bit for me, obviously it's a lot more important that he's a terrible human being. Like, so I don't want to skip over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll make me see Ferris Bueller a little bit differently. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not like, see, I mean, some movies recently you watch and it's like, oh, it has this guy in it and he's done some horrible stuff. And Kevin Spacey, I mean, Mel Gibson. I mean, Mel Gibson didn't do something as horrible as Kevin Spacey, but it's still a horrible thing. I mean, he said some racist stuff. I don't know how he is right now.
Well, yeah, he got pretty close, didn't he? Very Passion of the Christ esque enthusiasm. The South Park take the mick out of him with it, don't they? As a whole, yeah, he's a questionable human being.
Yeah,
Mel Gibson. Yeah, I don't know. There's, that's look at the years of Harvey Weinstein and how long that man was around before anything ever happened.
And most people knew about it, I think, but they kept quiet.
What can you do against the most powerful person? Yeah, you can bring it up, but no one's going to believe you. That's the thing. People probably did try. But, I'm not going to get too deep into that. It's just,
I mean,
like...
Even with, wrestling, with wrestling, there's non-union organization with WWE. Jesse Ventura wanted to make a union, to unionize all the wrestlers, but Hulk Hogan betrayed him and he went and told Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon stopped Jesse Ventura from unionizing. And then I think they were doing it like a lawsuit. They asked him investigations like, how did you know that Jesse Ventura was doing a unionization with the wrestlers? He's like, oh, Hogan told me. Immediately, just like he betrayed Hogan also in the questioning.
Good old Terry on his usual. So the more you hear about Hulk Hogan as well, the more you just.
Yeah, because I know, especially right now, because yes, I understand he's a horrible human, but I actually do like Mr. Nanny and some of the stuff he presented. Also, I'm also excited for this movie that they're making with Chris Hemsworth for Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, did you hear about this? They're making a biopic about his life with Chris Hemsworth.
I mean, he's got an interesting life. It should include the part where he's horribly racist.
I think it should, because the main problem with the Netflix movie, they say that it's only focused on his early life. It won't focus on the most racist stuff. Because Hogan's also a producer on the film. Because they're trying to make this like a positive thing, not a negative thing. Because that's one of the reasons with biopics with Hollywood.
I mean, if he's on the production side of it, this is how it's not going to be like. By the way, brother, can you put in the bit where I was a racist? Like he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. But no, he's I still love whenever I hear, I am a real American. Like, okay, that's a great theme song.
Yeah, I still actually like that interview he did with Greg on Up at Noon. He scared him. That's my favorite part.
No, actually not. I don't even recall that. Wow.
Yeah.
Up at Noon so long ago.
Yeah. Yeah, because and also, like I said, I'm seeing it because of what Chris Hemsworth. He's playing Hulk Hogan. Just imagine Thor playing Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. I think he's great.
That's why I think he's very jacked in the new Thor movie, because he's preparing for this film.
Right, that would make sense.
Yeah.
He hates getting jacked as well. He said so in the old Avengers films, didn't he? He's like,
I mean, if his money is involved, he has to get jacked.
Got to do it. Yeah. He's gonna leave eventually. He's gonna leave with his millions. And he's gonna go full fat Thor.
Yeah, we need Fat Thor back. Bring back Fat Thor, people.
I have been a god for too long. Yeah. The 8-pack is going, the beer belly's coming in. That's it.
Yeah. That's all. I have not seen the film. I would like to tell you, he went from God bod to from Dad bod to God bod.
Dad bod. Dad bod to God bod.
Yeah. I think the movies might come out in by the end of the month on Disney Plus, because now they do like the 45 days window.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I didn't realize it was so soon.
Yeah,
I saw it in cinemas.
That's okay, because like I said, I like talking to begin before we dive in the movie, so I think we should start
Yeah.
diving right now. So before we begin, I'll drop some housekeeping. First of all, I guess, don't forget to subscribe and like our podcast on any services available on most services. iTunes, Spotify, and also on YouTube if you guys want to watch the video. And make sure you like us and give us some, because I want to spread the word. I want to bring out the podcast out because I want to expand it. And also, yes, most importantly, go subscribe to my YouTube channel because I want to reach 1 million subscribers so that we can reach the goal of making Andy and Joe watch and review Adventures of Achela with me. Do you know what this movie is?
I do not know.
It's a Turkish movie. It's a badly animated Turkish movie. That's all I'll say.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It broke Joe when I showed him the video. He was like, you finally broke me. Out of all the bad stuff you showed him, this one finally broke me.
If it's gonna punish Andy in particular,
Yes.
I'm in full support of anything.
Because he gave me a pass.
Andy.
He gave me a pass to make him watch any movie I want. I'm using it on this one.
Man, he's in for a treat. By the way you're reacting to and the sound of how Joe reacted to that clip, I'm looking forward to how Andy's gonna feel about that.
Well, he has some stuff because he hated Street Fighter review. He was not on the Street Fighter review, but I think on Jersey Girl I had him. I said, "Can you give us a quick thought on Street Fighter?" Man, he hated. He was like, "What the hell?"
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy, we gotta have words because look, like it's not a good film overall, but man, there's heart there. You messed up Ryu and Ken, whatever. Like, I understand.
They had behind the scenes stuff. If you read the story about what happened, even the guy, like, he was being pressured by Capcom to include so many characters in the movie, and then they didn't have time to train because Raul Julia was sick, and they couldn't get rid of him because investors were mostly invested in the film because of Raul Julia, and also they had to edit down the 5 seconds because the MPA gave it an R rating.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't realize that. Well, again, it's funny, right? Because you just obviously, as a casual audience member, you don't really think about that.
Yeah.
But when it's having that trivia available is helpful. Yeah. I still think Raul Julia as Bison.
Yeah.
Is just fantastic.
Yeah, and since now we're talking about Street Fighter and video games, so let's talk about our movie we're talking about today, Mortal Kombat. It's funny enough because we mentioned Street Fighter because Van Damme was the inspiration for the creation of the Mortal Kombat franchise. Because he was actually the why because Johnny Cage was created. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Ed Boon wanted to make a Bloodsport game, but didn't get that. It's like, you know what? We'll do a new game. We'll do Mortal Kombat.
And that just worked out. Worked out for Ed Boon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ed Boon and John Tabias, to be correct, because they both were involved in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, in that regard, what do you know? Just as an offshoot here, do you know what happened to John Tobias? He just.
I think he's still. I think he's doing some maybe smaller stuff, and because I know he's active on Twitter. Sometimes he would answer questions about Mortal Kombat.
Right.
But I know he's not. I don't know if he's still. I don't know, maybe he might come to do some stuff with Ed Boon, maybe panels and stuff. But I don't think he's involved with NetherRealm because mostly now Ed Boon who's doing everything for NetherRealm.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, because like I said, Van Damme we mentioned, and it's funny because Van Damme was approached to be in this film, but then he was like, "Nah, I'm going to Street Fighter." I think it worked for the well enough for this film.
Yeah, and he got a more prominent starring role in Street Fighter as well. Whereas this was very much shared across the board with a few people.
I think he also had an ego, like he wanted to be the lead and everything.
I can't fully blame him. I mean, coming off of his 80s, like late 80s stuff, right? And it's he
was a problematic guy, like drugs, alcohol, and apparently he would. When I was reading about Street Fighter, he would walk away from set. He would go to massage parlors, and people like, "Where's Van Damme? We have to record him." And sometimes they would delay productions.
Man, okay, so that's the diva behaviors.
Yeah,
it's rampant though, isn't it?
You hear about it in Hollywood right now. But then because now recently when they get older, it's like, yeah, man, I was an asshole when I was doing that, and I'll go back. I regret doing everything.
Yeah.
So some of them, because themselves, they get awakening when they go older. It's like, yeah, man, what the hell did I do with my life, with this? And I wish I was not this guy. I apologize. If you heard of it, even Val Kilmer, you heard about his story how he was maybe an a-hole when he used to make movies, especially on the Island of Dr. Moreau. Even now, he's like, man, and I regret what I did this decision. It's like, Like at least like they're open about their life. It's like, yeah, I was an asshole. As long as they're not like recently up to today, they are assholes. But they're like, look, I mean, I was an asshole when I was doing this stuff at Diva, but that and I regret doing this. It's a show like
Yeah,
them they're growing up. They're becoming mature with their life.
it's the thing in the spotlight. It's very difficult for people
Yeah.
to accept people changing, right? So you
Yeah.
see, they do one thing, or a lot of terrible things,
Yeah.
whatever. Can't really speak to it personally, but like a person that's a good example for that is like Charlie Sheen for me. I like a lot of Charlie Sheen's
Yeah.
work, but Charlie Sheen as a person has always seemed questionable at best. I don't
How
know.
is he right now? Is he doing well?
I don't quite know. I remember the whole Tiger Blood and winning stuff.
Yeah. And
I
him
was
getting
about
fired
like
from what was it? 2.5
Two and a
Men.
Half Men. Yeah, which was his. The funny part about that is being literally a show about him. He was removed from for being such a for not getting along very well with Chuck Lorre, who was the creator, and
His shows are very
but
problematic, Chuck Lorre. If you go back and look at them,
yeah. I mean, I like The Big Bang Theory. I know that's
because I know a lot of
sometimes it's a
people
bit of
hate
a
it because they find it very offensive to nerd culture.
yeah, and I'm here. And I'm like, okay, no, but it's okay. It's a shallow look at nerd culture, but not entirely. Like,
Yeah.
and frankly, I got to admit that my initial appeal was Kaylee Cuoco, who is just
Yeah, at least
a
right now
very
she's
beautiful.
doing well with Harley Quinn and the flight attendant.
Yeah, that was the thing. The thing was, in The Big Bang Theory, she's really good. It's not just that she's attractive;
Yeah.
she's really good. And like, so when everyone was like, "Oh, Harley Quinn, her," I was like, "No, she's good. Trust me, she'll
Yeah.
she'll do a good job." But yeah, Charlie Sheen, interesting, an interesting person who's fallen upwards a lot of the times, shall we say?
And now people are looking at Ezra Miller. It's like, okay, so how is he now going? Is he gonna fix his life, everything with all what's happening, or is he now career dead? Because the grooming
well,
thing is the grooming accusations what actually is making people pause about him.
yeah. It's, I mean, he's. I know nothing about the dude, to be honest. I just heard, like, honestly,
It's
I haven't
mostly the
watched any.
stories we're hearing. We don't know how accurate these are because it's most because like I mentioned when we hear the accusation first because we don't know the full detail of the story. Until we get more information, we can have to finally judge. Because I remember people saying, "Hey, why didn't you talk about this person?" People, I was telling them like, I don't know the full detail. I can't judge it if I don't know the full detail of what's going on.
It's it's always healthy to try and respect the views of the people that are coming out
Yeah, I
about
know, but
someone.
don't harass a guy if he says I don't know. It's like
It's literally exactly. Yeah, you can't. You aren't the one with the answers. The people involved are, and we can't really do anything about that right now. And especially on our end, who are we? Not being funny, we don't really have the kind of clout that could even move the needle. So it comes out and the dude's a terrible person. Cool, throw him to the wolves, isn't it? That's all I've really got for it personally. That's pretty much it. And luckily, as far as I'm reading, there wasn't a lot of that on the Mortal Kombat.
yeah, as far as I know, there was nothing happening. More come.
So
Like that's one thing.
Robin's show seems the only thing about his Liu Kang performance is that they like to do a lot of dramatic shots of him jumping over things.
He's the only one I think that knows how to. I think with more martial arts than the rest of the cast.
Yeah, and even then, apparently, he got tripped up on a situation with the guy playing Sub-Zero, who was the most.
Because I've read there were so many injuries on the set of the film.
Yeah, because I can do physical. No, you can't. Just be as good as that. I just thought.
Yeah, because some of them actors like they want to show off, like, see, I can do my own stuff, then they get injured and etc.
That was a Bridget thing, wasn't it? As in particular, she was like, no stunt doubles. I want to do it. And again, I know time for her was limited.
It was time limited because she came in very late to the show. The film. So
yeah.
So like we said, with today's movie, we're talking about is Mortal Kombat from 1995 because I know it's 1995 because a year before it was Street Fighter came out. I think this is the third. I don't know, might be wrong. I don't know if it's the third or the fourth. Because I know first was it Mario Brothers, then Street Fighter, if I'm not mistaken.
Video game movie. Yeah. Yes.
This is when they start beginning. Because
I wouldn't know, yeah.
Yeah. So this also was the beginning of Paul W. Answer directing video games movies and his first big budget to Hollywood. Because this, I think, what made him become the big hit people went after. Because after that, He went and he did what was it? What was that movie? Oh, yeah, he did a movie called Soldier with Kurt Russell. It's supposed to be set in the same universe as Blade Runner, and then he did a movie with, I think it's celebrating it this week, its 25th anniversary. Event Horizon.
Event Horizon.
That's the one with Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill. That actually it's the movie that inspired Dead Space.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've heard about it. Yeah, I've never actually watched it.
You know, this my original plan was soon to record actually, you know, Event Horizon books for an anniversary, but then I was like, after, you know, I had to delay some stuff. I was like, okay, so what should I do next? Then I remembered you saying one more comment. I remember they both direct this and Event Horizon are both directed by same director. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should celebrate the director's work instead.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Then he went Alien vs Predator, the first one. And then he also Resident Evil. We worked from 2002 to 2016, the films, and finally he did Monster Hunter most recently.
Monster Hunter, you said. Sorry, it's the most recent one.
Oh, yeah, I know, because he also did, you know, some movies. Did the Three Musketeers that had Ray Stevenson, Luke Evans, and I forgot the actor's name. He plays, I think, the son of Brian Cox's son-in-law in Succession.
Ah, man, I haven't seen Succession, but
he was the lead in Death at the Funeral.
Man, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, he was also in Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, because I know also the movie has some actors like, well, in this movie for the Three Musketeers, they also had Christoph Waltz. What was his name? Also from Pirates, Will Turner. What's his name?
Oh, Orlando Bloom.
Yes, Orlando Bloom playing Jack Sparrow in the film. Mila Jovovich. Like, he got some names in the movies. Like, how the hell he got them? The one that I'm actually surprised, I'm regret that he was in the film is James Corden.
James Corden.
I mean, if you know James Corden, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah, you do. whether or not that's a good thing, I'm not sure, but
like, you know, because he appears in the beginning of the film for a few minutes, it's like, oh, please, thank God, let this be the only time. And then the third eye, he gets more appearance, like, no! I was like... like, the movie is like, oh, you think you're safe? We're gonna keep you for the last.
No, we're gonna... They keep a little James Corden in a pocket. Every time you think you're safe, they're like, boo, I'm back. Gonna make another joke about Boo now.
The best part of the Three Musketeers movie was Matt Mikkelsen as the mustache villain. I mean, the eye patch villain. Cool. Yeah, he's always good in anything he's in. Even playing the bitch in Bitch Better Have My Mind by Rihanna.
You know, I think he just goes along with anything, right? He just goes. He's like, okay, I'm down for anything, and I'll do it. And he puts himself just in it. With it, you don't ever get the sense from Mads Mikkelsen that he's upset about being there. Do you know what I mean? He just doesn't. Yeah. He's a consummate professional. Is what I'd say.
Yeah, like that's the same thing you can talk about Raul Julia. They're both professionals. Like, we'll do this. I mean, we'll give it all our, or even if they're bad, we'll give it our all because we don't want it to look bad in the film.
Yeah.
Because I saw the Three Musketeers, I was like, oh man. I'm actually middle of the road to the movie. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I hate it. But sometimes there's some good stuff. But the CG is very high CG heavy and it looks very obvious, the green screen, everything.
Right.
Yeah. And this is
I've
actually...
got to watch that.
Yeah. I think... I don't know. I might tell you where it is later after the show. So Mortal Kombat, this is actually Paul W.S. Anderson's first movie. And at that time, when I was watching the credits, I noticed the only credit is Paul Anderson. Yeah, when I was looking, it's like, why is he credited Paul Anderson instead of Paul W.S. Anderson like we know it now? And if you guys look at it, you find out that it's because of the rights, because there's Paul Thomas Anderson also, the director. He had to put the Paul W.S. Anderson so people do not mistake him for Paul Thomas Anderson.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Had to differentiate himself, put his own stamp on it.
Yeah, maybe maybe it's to Paul Thomas Anderson who told him, like, hey, I don't want to be known for these terrible movies. I make, Oscar-nominated movies, not the Razzie-nominated movies.
Hey, Paul Thomas Anderson, I loved Monster Hunter. Like, shut up! No.
I was like, oh, hey, Paul W.S. Anderson, I like that movie about the adult woman trying to, have sex with a teenager. That's like
hey. Flawless victories. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Imagine people going to Paul Thomas Anderson. I drank your milkshake. Because Paul Thomas also did that film.
Paul W. S. Anderson just turned around and like, yes, you did. He's like, okay, he'd be happy about it. He would.
God. Imagine Paul Thomas Anderson. People come to him just like, we hate your wife. Why? You put her in all of your movies. That's the other Paul Anderson.
I'd never do that. She's not Oscar worthy.
I think Paul Thomas is in relationship with Maya Rudolph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if she is some of his movies, like, stop putting your wife in all as the lead, dude. That's not me. That's it. If you look at him, all of his movies right now, all is starring his wife.
I didn't know that. That's man. Like, do you know what? I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying, hey, you gotta look after your family first sometimes, right?
I mean, everything in Hollywood is a nepotism. How do you think we got Michael Douglas? Yes, he's a good actor, but how do you think he got to be big? Because of his dad.
Yeah.
Part of his name.
I'd say Martin Sheen, then Charlie Sheen, and
Emilio Estevez. I think that Sheen is not the last name. It's Estevez, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Estevez, yeah. Which again, like, but he took the Sheen name, right, because of the family legacy in terms of films, is my understanding.
Scott Eastwood, why do you think he's working in Hollywood? Because of his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say so. I also think it's not just that they got him roles or anything, like, no, not direct involvement. But if your dad or any parent, your mom, your uncle, was like a prolific person in a field, you're probably more likely to know more people in that space and have more opportunities to do something in that space because connections are there, right?
Yeah.
It's if I walk into Hollywood next week, I could put on, I'm not an Oscar-worthy performance. It doesn't matter. I don't know anyone. Like, it's so they're like, oh well, that was fantastic. We're going to steal that. We're going to give that to, I don't know,
Mark Wahlberg.
Batman. Yeah, no, do you know what? Mark Wahlberg's actually better. Yeah, he's like, we're gonna put a Boston accent on it. It's not gonna work out too well.
Yeah.
But it's Mark Wahlberg, so people are watching, and I'm guilty of that sometimes. Actually, I don't mind Mark Wahlberg. He's fun.
Yeah, man. We have to talk one day about the Uncharted film, mostly to Ross Greg Miller's review.
I still haven't watched it. Yeah,
I don't know if it's still in the UK, but I know in the US it's on Netflix.
I think it's on.
You can rent it. I think
it's available to rent. Yeah, on Amazon Prime. Yeah, so I know that for. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, just gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, at least I know we still haven't talked about Marco, but I'm enjoying what we're talking about it.
That's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. And also, this movie has some good cast on it. I mean, most recognizable name is Chris Lambert, because all of us know him from the Highlander movies. For some reason, he's playing Raid, the God of Thunder, Raiden.
Yeah. So Christopher Lambert.
I mean, he was in a movie where Sean Connery was playing a Spanish Egyptian.
Yeah, I want to say. I'm not defending anything.
Maybe it's like if Sean Connery can do it, then so can I.
Yeah, I mean, we're not that far removed from what was it, Gods of Egypt or White People.
Even right now, you saw it with the Fidel Castro story. James Franco is saying he's going to play him.
Is that wow?
Yes, it's real. John Leguizamo was he called them out. He's saying, "Hey, why are you casting him?" Everyone's calling him out, and I think Castro's daughter came out just like she defended the casting.
Oh, okay, okay. You know what? About Fidel Castro, I'm very far removed from it. Not much of a Cuban Missile Crisis guy. Yeah. So whatever they do, it's up to them.
I remember when I first saw this, I was like, "What? Was Benicio del Toro unavailable?" Yeah, I mean, you can think of some other people who can play. It's like, "What? You go and cast a guy just because he's Portuguese doesn't make him because he's part Portuguese." I know Franco. Yeah,
that's like what I don't want to negate that from anyone, but a lot of it's immediate visual. He looks like a white dude, right? So it's that's I understand why there'd be reservations there. Hey, but worse things have happened though. I would say again, like
It even happened with
again,
Nina Simone. I don't know if you remember. There was a story like they made a Nina Simone biopic and they casted Zoe Saldana. She's feel a light-skinned black woman.
very light skin.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
cast her because Nina so much. You always would talk about her black skins, like my dark. I want to make the black, culture look positively. Because you
yeah,
always talked about, and
yeah.
people like you go in and you cast, a very light skinned one because when you go see the movie, they apply makeup to make her look dark skinned. People are like, why?
Oh, yeah, mm, that it's that is a mistake, and that's putting it lightly. They know what it's.
And people point
Yeah.
out it's mostly because they don't have the right team to cast. Mostly it's white people, and the Fidel Castro. I know that the majority of people who are working are Latino people. Like I don't know why they did this.
Yeah, that tends to be a common thread in Hollywood, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Where it's like, oh man, the people working on it, how could they know? It's like, look outside, read a paper. Like, educate yourself a little bit. But I get, I say it like that. I mean, I'm quite in a privileged position, being, the race I am, just being a man and whatnot. I don't have to worry too much about things like that, really. If I choose to just look away, which is what most people do. But yeah, like it's. I don't know. Sometimes, if it's important, what's the thing that's come up recently? There is a black actor that wants to play a prominent Professor Xavier. I can't remember who.
Giancarlo Esposito, and this I think people are on board with it.
Yeah, and I'm personally, I'm like, oh, that sounds great, and people immediately jump to the whole, well, what about Magneto? And like, yeah, well. The thing is, being white is not core to Xavier's character.
No.
Whereas being Jewish is core to God, what's Magneto's actual name?
Eric, I think something. I know it's Eric something.
I was going to say Banner then, and I realized it's not. That's an actor. It's a completely different person.
I know it's Eric something. Let me check.
Yeah.
Because all people are saying that they need to change because if they made him like the same backstory of World War II Holocaust survivor, he'll be very old to play the character right now. People say it change and make it into a black cat because people say I think it will fit more because Stanley, I don't remember who created them. They said that I based Professor X and Magneto after Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. People say Denzel maybe get him as Magneto.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It would be a different take. Again, I know people are using that as a defense, so that he has to be Jewish because he has to. But if you modernize that,
I mean, there are black Jews.
Yeah, I didn't know that, honestly. I actually didn't realize that, but I guess it's the common conception, though, isn't it? The common perception,
Yes.
rather. Which
Eric Lenscher, something like this.
Right. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't even. I guess the only thing you really ever hear Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen really say back to him back and forth to Charles, Eric. That's really basically it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when we're I'm tracing this all the way back here.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't remember where we
We were talking about Chris Lambert's casting as Raiden.
Oh yeah. Because obviously he was initially an Asian character.
I mean, thankfully they fixed it in the 2021 movie.
Thank the Lord and everyone that is of course treat. That is the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie.
Do you know who was the actor that played Raiden in the 2021 movie?
I don't.
Have you seen the movie Ichi the Killer?
No.
But I don't know if you've seen the poster. It's actually an Asian guy who's in a pink suit and he has scar on his face, like there's chains on him.
Right.
That's the guy.
Right.
Type Ichi. If you go to Google Ichi the Killer, I think that you see the poster. It's the most famous. He's the face of the franchise.
I mean, regardless of all that, Yaz, we have to just face it doesn't matter how many correct decisions they may have made on some casting or whatnot.
The film is still bad.
It's trash, so it just doesn't matter. Whereas Mortal Kombat 1995, actually, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
And of course, because we got other actors we got Robin Shou, who actually will later be in the sequel. The only act I think he did came back for the sequel, if I'm not mistaken. All the others were recast. Oh,
Did
him.
Kitana not?
Then
Come back?
Kitana, she came back because I forgot about her.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
Most
even,
people didn't do much in this. Like what? Do you know what? I was gonna get into a whole roast of that situation where like she comes out to like use the element that brings life. Just say use the water bucket. You don't need. Why are you coming out with Batman's not somewhere going. Oh, we need to figure out this riddle. Like it's not with that.
Yeah.
Oh man, her character in this film is literally she's hot. Let's have a hang around for a bit. And
she's played by what's her name? Talisa Soto. And she was in License to Kill actually.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, she was,
Again, I got. She did the role well. I just think it wasn't a very well.
I mean, most of the actors, I mean, they were not well in this role because I think maybe they were told by the script maybe try to act like you were doing a B movie script.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I think the guy doing Johnny Cage, which was Lyndon
Ashby.
Yeah,
he did lots of he has a martial arts background and he was also from soap opera. He was most certainly is in the Teen Wolf TV show, that new reboot.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I didn't know he was in that.
Yeah,
I think he did a good job as Johnny Cage. I think he did. He helped that, and I think his dynamic with Robin Shaw, Liu Kang was pretty good.
Yeah.
Same with Bridget as Sonya. Whenever they interacted as a trio, you could tell they had a bit of chemistry with each other.
I think the director, I read something, he even encouraged them to ad lib. I think that, man, thank God I didn't ask him to park my car, and that's I think the glasses. These are all ad libs.
That was a good line. Yeah. And then the Sonya Blade situation when he says he's going to fight Goro. And she's like, "You're the most egotistical, self-centered, this and that." And he's like, "You forgot good looking."
That sounds like Johnny Cage because if you're familiar with the character, it's like, "Oh yeah, that's very Johnny Cage."
It is, yeah. It's because Johnny Cage is just a Hollywood smarmy person. Right? He's very very quippy, and so
And you see him in the games, like from 2000, the Mortal Kombat 9 to 11. You see him getting mature, like with his films. Like, hey, I'm even when 11, when the younger version comes back, I was like, God, was I just an asshole when I was younger?
Yeah, that was 10, wasn't it? Actually, because they got the time travel aspect.
11 is when they bring in the younger one. 10X is the one where they introduce their daughter, him and Sonya's daughter.
Yeah. Which we can talk about Ronda Rousey as Sonya at some point, but that's
the stunt casting is most likely, was it? If you thought she was bad, wait until you see, I forgot his name, DJ something, who does the Sub-Zero voice acting.
That's not.
You thought she was bad, wait until you see the guy who they brought in, not the actor who plays Sub-Zero. There's like a skin, if you're unlucky with he does like voice acting, and it's like, man, this is one of the worst voice acting I've heard.
See, but that's right. So I don't mind that so much because that's like a completely arbitrary thing. When you've got Ronda Rousey in the main as Sonya Blade, I'm like, no, she's not very good. Like, no. And again, it is what it is. But
and in Mortal Kombat X, they had, I forgot her name, Tricia Helfer. She was in Battlestar Galactica.
Yes, she was. Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
She brought her as Sonya. I was like,
yeah, and a proper actor to actually act. Yeah, there you go. Whereas like Ronda Rousey, it's like, okay, so you're really good at fighting. All right, want you in this booth? I don't need you to talk. She does not do that very well.
And one thing I think I also like about this new movie, unlike the 2021, they didn't cast Aussie actors as obligation because the 2021 they shot the movie in Australia. That's why you notice like most of the white actors are actors. They have Aussies beside Ken, which is character. He's supposed to be Aussie, and they also the people who are working behind the camera, even the director, they're all Aussie because they shot in Australia. And Australia, I don't know if they still do it or not because I know for Street Fighter, the Van Damme movie, they requires like at least you need to have one major character played by an Aussie actor in order to get the approval by the Australian Aussie film community to shoot in Australia.
That makes sense. Yeah. Like, you want to, if you're going to have people use your country to shoot in, you want to be represented, right? Yeah. So, like, that's cool. Did that end up being Kano, or was that?
I don't know. I think it's Sonya. She was by an Aussie actress. And even even the voice actors, like the actor who plays, I think Kentaro was Aussie. I don't know the actor who does the body movement for. Forgot the guy who moves fast like Flash. Cabal. He's Aussie.
Well,
Even his
yeah.
voice actor is Aussie, and the guy who does the voice act for Gore is also Aussie. I mean, most of the actors are from Mad Max. If you read about them.
Here's the thing about all that, Yaz. Do you know that that film is so bad that when you told me Sonya Blade was in it, I completely forgot. I completely forgot
Yeah, but it's
that
like
Sonya Blade was in that film.
yeah, because there was no chemistry between, like you mentioned, like in the new one, this one we just saw, they had chemistry a little bit with them, but there was no
Yeah.
chemistry. Especially that scene where they had them talk to each other. It was like, man, there's no chemistry. Man, when they're having dinner, they're about to unlock Kano's power.
That is the one bit in that film where I'm like, wow, that felt like a real moment because Kano gets really, really annoyed and it erupts. I still hate the way that they do that in the films where they're like,
Yeah,
oh, no, it's this inherent, it's a Keke Genkai like from Naruto, a bloodline trait kind of. It's like, okay, no, no, it's not. Let's stop it. Like, come on, just say there's magic in the world and stuff like that, and just right.
do you know
But
why I don't like those? The down reason why didn't like the last Mortal Kombat movie?
there's many, but go ahead.
Uh, it's produced by the guy who gave us Master of Disguise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
I'm not familiar
he's
with that.
not low button sensible. That's why they're greenlighting the sequel because WB they're canceling anything that's expensive. Because at this one, because we can do it for low budget, we can think would do well. That's why.
Here's the thing, Yaz, right?
Yeah.
Think about this for a second. Right. Mortal Kombat 1995
Yes.
almost gets it right. It almost fully appreciates Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Right? It modernizes things. Liu Kang's in America, and you know what? That through line I can appreciate. Liu
Yeah.
Kang, he's disillusioned with the idea of being the savior of the world. He's traveled away. I think the brother thing's a bit of a reach. They stretch that to be like, here's the reason to come back.
Yeah.
I think they didn't need that, but like that to me, I was like, you know what? Okay, that these characters feel like they are I don't want to say the real life representations of this, but close enough. They do a good job. Whereas 2021 just felt like, yo, Mortal Kombat's cool again. Let's do some stuff, and it doesn't work.
And also,
And
where's Mortal Kombat in the last movie?
yeah,
That was like, okay. I remember watching this movie. I was like, where's the Mortal Kombat? It was like, you guys killed everything. I was like, what? You made to me a movie about Mortal Kombat and it doesn't have the Mortal Kombat?
it's massive bait as well because they set it up to be like this whole this is
Yes.
actually about Hanzo Hattori, the original Scorpion, and the rivalry with the Lin Kuei.
That's the biggest. They had a great casting with the actor who's playing Scorpion and they wasted him in the film.
They did. They was so bad.
The scenes you get out to people who are listening and watching the episode, the scenes that you see him in the trailer are the only scenes you see Scorpion in the film.
Yeah, and it's terrible. It's like that's the problem, right? It's like those scenes are good. Like again, when Sub-Zero snaps Jax's arms off, that's a great moment. And then they don't really do anything with it until Jax learns to grow mechanical arms.
And they gave him like small T-Rex arms instead.
I
was like,
wow.
the whole time watching this movie, I was like,
I was sat in this very room with my younger brother who's in the next room right now. And he and I were watching this film on demand. We decided, we're going to give it a go. And the moment, as I said to my brother, I went, he's going to grow metal arms. I don't know how, but they're going to do that. He's going to grow them. And it started happening. I was like, Jordan, they're doing it. It's the worst thing on the planet, but they're doing it. Can't believe they're doing this. And yeah, he grew metal arms, and I could not fathom how it was.
That's the thing. I even said with that one, like, they over-explained more stuff that they gave as explanation than because this one, the new one, it's simple. Like, these fighters, they are chosen. Send them go fight Mortal Kombat, and that's it. This one's like, oh no, we have to explain how they get this power, how this thing happen, blah blah blah, and there's no tournament. I was like, fuck you, there's all this stupid BS.
I get, other things there as well. Regarding Jax, very specifically, Raiden could have been like, hey, actually, I know a metalsmith, like, you know, a blacksmith that maybe help you out here. Just something a little more, you know, other than, okay, if you squeeze really hard, Jax, you'll pop out metal arms. It
I mean,
just doesn't make any sense. Oh man, that whole film's just a mess though. So
yeah. It's
it's
worse because, like I said, they're bringing the same director and producer for the movie. The writer now is writing Saints Row the movie, and he's apparently writing and directing the TV show System Shock.
huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
and people
okay.
are like, why?
Why? Why did you do this? Like, yeah, it's, you know. I think we've ended up speaking more about 2021 at the moment than we have
It's actually, no, it's
1995.
great we talk about it because after seeing this, rewatching this movie and remembering the 12th one, I was like, man, I'm appreciating this movie a lot. This new one, even though it's not
Yeah.
perfect. I'm really
No,
glad we talked about that 2021 because at least you can have an idea why we'll be talking more positively with this the old one than the new one.
I think again, yeah, 2021. It's upsetting, right?
Mm,
Because what that is, how many years is that? 26 years
yeah.
after the fact of the first Mortal Kombat that came so close to being a really good representation of culture.
I think the only reason
And
people are not happy with this old one because it was PG-13, not R-rated. Even I'll tell you something. One last time because I'll talk about 2021 Mortal Kombat. Ed Boon was not involved because if you notice him, he never tweeted anything about this movie a lot.
no, he didn't.
He did
No, I
not. He
saw
did not
that.
endorse anything about this movie. The only movies he endorsed were the animated film because he was involved with them. And he even
Yes.
was involved in Annihilation because he did the voice of Scorpion in that one too.
Mm.
Just to show
I
you, like,
think,
when the creator is more involved with Annihilation, if Annihilation is worse than 2021, you know your
oof,
movies might not be that great.
yeah. Oh, Annihilation's a whole other conversation,
Yeah.
isn't it? That was unfortunate.
And also
Um,
watch the animated film Scorpion Revenge, and that was I heard they're better than the 2021 film.
that YouTube series is pretty good. Can't remember what it's called.
It's that because I know the director was supposed to do the movie, but then he left. It's like I'll do the YouTube series instead.
Yeah, and the YouTube series turned out all right,
Mm-hmm.
pretty good actually. Whereas
Yeah,
you know, it's for a YouTube series, which is it's just, you know, sometimes you think to yourself, you're not that. It's not that hard.
yeah,
Do Mortal Kombat is Enter the Dragon. It's literally Enter the
yeah.
Dragon, but violent. Like, you know, that's all you're doing. Do Enter the Dragon again
And this
with
was because this is
superpowers.
what they did with this 1995 movie. It's like, you know what, we'll do like an on like some boost. Even some of the fight scenes and stuff. You look, it's like, man, this feels like a nod to all the martial arts movies. Because watching this one, because then
Liu Kang's first fight with the black guy with his the staffs.
yeah.
He doesn't actually have a named character. If I recall. He does lion growls
Mm,
weirdly. But he's like, that was a good fight and very reminiscent of Enter the Dragon,
yeah.
like that whole situation there.
Mm,
It's, you know, that it's very obvious that was an inspiration, and that was pretty cool though. I think they did I think Mortal Kombat has that aspect to it in general. Liu Kang is a Bruce Lee-esque
yes.
character, so yeah, I think this film came
And the fighting also
1995.
was good in this one because compared because I remember there was lots of shaky cams with the other one. This one had better fighting.
Yeah, it's still there are moments where it's good, and then there's moments where you're like,
Most of
well,
the
that was
Robin
weird.
Shu fights are better because I think he's more experienced martial arts than the others.
I kind of like, do you know when they do a lot of slowdown in this film,
Yeah.
and like so much that it's like, did you really want to highlight that move? I don't understand why you did that. There's one
I
bit
think it's supposed to be
where
a nod to like martial arts movies. They had to do it. They used to do it.
hmm,
That's why I
there's
think.
one really bad bit with Reptile. You know when Liu Kang finishes Reptile. I'd
Is it
say
with
finishes like
the bicycle kick?
yeah, when he
Because
goes
even in
backwards.
the 2021 it doesn't look that good. Going back,
No,
I thought
no.
it looked good. This one's like, nah, it didn't look that good because I think they tried to make an Easter egg to the video game because that's one of his
Yeah,
kicking moves.
I imagine that'd be quite a difficult thing to pull off visually.
Yeah.
I understand,
Even
but the
when
worst
when
part,
the new one also cannot pull it off, what make you think the old one would kind of pull it off? Yeah.
the worst part in that for this film for that though isn't the bicycle kick itself. It's if you look at Reptile afterwards, how he goes back flipping out of the area. It's like, do you know the shooting stars meme
Yes.
Right. You know when they shoot off the screen, that's what Reptile looked like. Just
Yeah.
kind of flying off of the area. I was like, okay, that was 1995. I'm sure this is kind of fresh
CG
in
and
terms
stuff.
of
Yes.
wire work and
I mean, I'm glad they
CG.
used practical effects for Goro, which we'll talk about it later.
Oh yeah, man, looking like a Ninja Turtle on steroids. Yeah, but in a good way, not in a bad
Yeah.
way. I was
I
like,
mean, it's
okay,
not
yeah,
100% perfect because they even say that they had problems with the character because I think budget and stuff and issues. But it's like, man, we have to cut corners.
he was pretty intimidating though.
Yeah.
Like I'll give
Yeah.
I think they did a fine job with him. He looks. I think the problem they faced, he looked a bit goofy in the
Yeah.
face.
Even his mouth, when he
But,
speaks, you saw that it doesn't match his mouth.
but when he's there at the table with Kano,
Yeah.
and Kano's munching on that turkey leg, he does a really good job of being intimidating when he gets getting closer and closer. So no, I think they did the way they framed Goro as well up until the point where they kill him, which was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Um,
And also, if I'm not mistaken, Goro, the people who worked on Aliens, like because the fake, just the one who created Goro.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that would make sense as to how they made him quite gross, but at the same time, it was very faithful to the character. I feel. Like it's. But I'm not sure what the limitations of 1995 were, but he looked good. Yeah. So
especially when you hear that apparently the special effects team, the people who did the design for the visual effects for Reptile and other greenskins, they were making fun at the go, saying, "Man, it looks bad."
Man, I'm sorry, that Reptile.
Yes, the worst special effects I've seen, especially at that time.
Man, that was so bad. That I couldn't put into words when he tells her, "Oh yeah, make sure you keep an eye on Katana," basically. And I'm like,
they should have done what they did with Predator, have him invisible, but do not show him a lot.
Until he goes into the actual ninja suit, like when he gets crushed into the thing. Like you did not need the other aspect of him to be visible. Yeah. It was not good.
That's one thing, because there are some special effects look good. I mean, when Sub-Zero uses his power, that special effect looked good.
It was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, even for that time, at that time, it was something very good, at least.
Especially when it froze the dude in midair.
That one looked good.
The process of him building it, not so good. And I think Scorpion suffered from that with the spear as well. It was a bit...
that spear thing, that spear from his hand and Reptile are the weakest part.
Yeah. But as soon as Sub-Zero let the ability go, the frost over the way they did the frost over the person being, it was just. So yeah, I think for the time as well, for 1995, going for what they were doing is quite ambitious. I mean, Raiden turning into lightning didn't look good, not at all. It looked pretty terrible. And Christopher Lambert doing his. I like his performance for a lot of it, right?
Yeah, because it looks like he's having fun. It looks like he was having fun with the role. Especially that scene where guys, with Johnny Cage punches Goro's nothing. It's like he stops. He's like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah. See, the bit that was really weird to me, and I laughed at it still, but I was a bit like, it's dodgy. Is where he's on the boat and it's all very serious. And
and then he starts laughing. I'm sorry.
In your hands. Sorry. I was like,
I feel like that was a goof, and they kept it in the film. It was like, just keep it in the film.
It was definitely a goof, right? Yeah. He just did that little laugh, looks directly at them, and he's like, sorry. And I don't know why you did that. It's the fate of billions of people, mate.
I think this is them basically saying we're not taking this very seriously, the filmmakers, because you see later, remember, they perform, I think, a friendship after Johnny Cage kills Scorpion, an autograph falls on the ground. There's supposed to be a nod to friendship.
Yeah, he used to be a fan of Johnny Cage, basically. Yeah. Man. It's a nod to a friendship, did you say, from the game?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Because there are some parts you will hear cartoon sound effects, but people are saying, like, this is them basically saying we're not taking ourselves very seriously. Yeah. Because
again, they do the serious parts. That everything with Shang Tsung is serious, is played seriously, and that's really good. Like, because he's, Cary literally carries his film. Yeah. So he is the most serious aspect. I'm glad they didn't jokify him.
Yeah.
Because him and Liu Kang, they needed the serious part.
Yeah.
And Johnny gets a lot of the jokes.
Yeah.
And
He's the comedy
Raven
guy. He's like, was it the Bill Paxton of the film from the Aliens?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And he's just very good at it. Like, you know, when Raiden leads them out the room, it's like they beat the people in the dining hall. They do the 3 people in the fight against everyone, and he's like, okay, clap, clap, clap. Now what are you gonna do? Like 2,000 of them with knives and stuff. And Raiden's like, sharp, that terrible special effect on the finger, and it's, you know, it's good goofy fun at times. And there's moments where I'm like, man, the heart of Shang Tsung is genuinely like a threat and a menace. You know, it ends kind of badly, doesn't it?
Because with the superhero pose and everything.
Like it's so quick as well. Like when you think about it, it doesn't seem that way. But when you're watching it, it's like, okay, even though we've prevented the invasion, he's still here for some reason.
They were setting up a sequel because they knew that they were gonna be
they were gonna do Annihilation, like, or
without
what would
the
become
original, you know, cast and crew. They brought in a new team.
Yeah, that's a decision, right? But like he does that, and then they literally do, as you say, the hero pose, and I'm like, wow, that was a choice. That was.
At least the hero pose looks better than the hero pose in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, what did you do?
That was just, at least the Mortal Kombat group earned the hero pose a little bit. Like the Street Fighter, like, it didn't really earn that, did it?
Yeah.
Kylie Minogue didn't. Like, but yeah, it's a conflicting film, right? Because we both watched it today, to have it freshest in our memories, and we watched it obviously separately. I found myself, I think, you know, you're older now, you've seen modern, the Mortal Kombat games themselves have got such good stories now that it's hard. There's a lot of context for what Mortal
I can
Kombat
see the influence of the 1995 and the latest one, Mortal Kombat 11, because you can see some influence in there, because I feel like they embraced it. That's why, because it was like, you know, I'm gonna embrace this. This is what people know most. Mortal Kombat, I'm gonna embrace it, but make it R-rated.
Yeah, that is really what it is. And I feel like Hollywood still wants to make it marketable their way. It's like, maybe if you just embraced that it's Mortal Kombat, not what you want it to be, this Cole Young thing, maybe it would do better. But then again, apparently it did all right? That's the thing, is it's got the name on it. I don't know the numbers, but if they're doing a sequel,
I think they did well on HBO Max and theatrically.
Yeah. So there you go. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. And we all, you know, look, we're all guilty of liking a bad film.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, it's...
I mean, heck, I like Samurai Cop. And it's funny because you've seen Samurai Cop, right?
I have not, no.
And no. I was watching the movie, especially in the end when they're fighting, you know, like Shang Tsung, he brings up the souls of the warriors he killed. They jump from the ground. One of the actors, the bald one, the first comment, I was like, that guy looks familiar. Then finally clicked him. It's like, oh, it's the bald guy from Samurai Cop.
I was just kind of like, you had 4 or 5 chances here to bring back like characters, that just cameo characters from Mortal Kombat, and you just chose random dudes. That's a bit of a weird decision.
I think mine had to do with budget stuff.
Probably, you know, it's again. I'm sure the stories are all out there. You know, the truth is out there, as they say. But like, when you're just watching it here, you just can't, you know, as an audience member that doesn't know any information.
You know, this actually what we're doing right now is different than what I mostly do format. But because most of the time I end up recapping the film, but it's not a lot of recap to talk about the film. I mean, basically we already talked about it. I mean, basically the short story is that Mortal Kombat is basically a tournament that happens every once a generation where bad warriors from Earth and Outerworld. But I'm surprised to see they didn't mention NetherRealm in this film. That's one of the things I noticed. They say that if Outerworld wins 10 times, they will get Earth. But if Earth wins, they will stop them from getting afterward. So this is
Yeah.
like, this is actually their ninth time winning, and if the Outworld wins one more time, they will get the Earth. So we see like Liu Kang, he wants to go back because Shang Tsung killed his brother. Sonya wants to avenge her partner who's killed by Kano, and Johnny Cage he was told, but he wants to improve himself. People saying, "Oh, you're a fake actor. You don't know how to fight."
Yeah, and
that's the plot.
Raiden, as he turns up, basically informs all of them in many, like, at one point all at the same time, but for Liu Kang a little bit earlier, that hey, that's not enough, and you're all gonna die. It's kind of a very loose reasoning to do it, and as they progress, somehow inexplicably they become really good friends. There's no real, I guess, forged in combat.
The movie is very quick. It's like, because they know that the main focus of the film was the fighting, because they made sure at least the fighting is the most important thing. Because that's one thing I like, but we were like, hey, you know what? We may not have good, at least we'll make sure the fighting, because some of them, that's why with some of the best action movies, they don't have story, but makes them special is actually the fighting. And I'm just like, I think David just got muted, so apologies.
My apologies. I needed to shimmy slightly. I didn't want to have it being picked up on the
that's okay.
I'm messing up what you were saying.
That's okay, because if people I think are listening to see there's quite this, like I said, that's one mind. But that's didn't look.
Does the notification sound come through? My bad.
No, that's okay. No, because I noticed like the logo on the screen. I'm pretty sure that the people who are watching it, the video might notice it, but the audio listeners might not. In case you see why I'm talking a lot. That's why.
As far as the audio listeners are concerned, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, because we saw them like. I like the fact that they go to the island, and they also, because one thing we didn't mention, Sonya, she's played by Bridget Wilson. You might recognize her. She was the love interest in Happy Madsen, and she shot this film the same time as Happy Madsen. And originally it was supposed to be Cameron Diaz, but Cameron Diaz, she got injured while she was rehearsing for the film, and Bridget Wilson, she brought in last minute, and she had to train while they were shooting the film. That's why you notice like some of the actors, other action sequences look better than her.
Yeah. And again, to her credit, I think she still did a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
Of Sonya. Again, I think the role of Sonya in the film, personally, was a bit. I don't quite understand what the logic behind Shang Tsung being. Is it picking the weakest of the three? I guess he was trying to do to
maybe he wants to also a bride for him.
Yeah, it seemed like it seemed more like that, didn't it?
Maybe especially when
that he dragged her away, and apparently during the time it took Johnny and Lou to make it there, they had time to stop her kicking and screaming and dress her up as if she was gonna be doing something for Guns N' Roses. Like, I don't understand how that actually happened.
Like I said, I think he wants her to be his bride. So that's much weird.
Yeah, but mate, I'm not being funny. Sonya Blade, I imagine while they're trying to dress her up, might have not gone so well for anyone.
I mean, if you see some of the characters, how did they sub in the Mortal Kombat movie games before Mortal Kombat? She was like, okay, now what the hell is going on? Especially in Mortal Kombat 9, how Sonya and what's her name, Kitana's costume look like. Some of them feel like they're wearing a bikini instead of a fighting suit.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We could say it's for the sake of agility or whatever. What was confusing to me was that Shang Tsung was clearly abducting Sonya, which once again, I guess Shang Tsung's just more powerful than Sonya. Fair enough, right? What I don't understand was how he got her into wardrobe. It's like, but it doesn't really matter.
I think this movie is like the more explanation. Do you know it's like the more explanation you get, the more confusing it gets.
Yeah, and again, it's a go with the flow kind of film. You just, like you say, the pacing's so almost abrupt in the way that it moves.
Especially because the Annihilation. If you saw Annihilation desexualized, what was it? Sonya very muscle because apparently she's not wearing a brush. She's wearing a wank tight up. You can see her like her nipples through see through.
Oh really? I have not. Annihilation is such a difficult film to watch that I don't think I'd even. It's bad.
Even the fight scene, because Raiden, in the Annihilation, he fights. It's kind of obvious because he's in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He's played by James Remar, and in the film they use a body double. You will notice the body double when he's fighting when it's James Remar.
Oh, okay. It's that obvious.
Yes. If you
Wow.
paid very close attention, like wow.
Oh no. But that, for the most part, they picked three characters to really focus on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's really what they
that's the
went
one
with, right?
problem that Street Fighter had, because Street Fighter we told them like put every character in, just like this one's like put focus on some small characters, because this one's
Yeah.
focused a lot on the plot of the first game, and the first game didn't have lots of character in it.
The main character of Mortal Kombat by popular demand is Liu Kang.
Yes.
He just is like that's where you want to be, right? But yeah, you need a supporting cast.
Yeah.
And again, like it's I think they did a good. They worked well with each other.
Yeah.
The whole the bridge when they're waiting for the boat to go to the tournament.
Yeah.
And he tries to pay. I mean, you said like, thank God I didn't get him to park my car, because the whole thing there was Liu Kang walks past and he basically mistakes him for a bag boy.
Yeah.
Like not like because he's like snooty Hollywood guy. Let's face it, seeing an Asian guy, but it figures like, oh, he's the bag boy. That's basically why he's trying to pay him to do it. He's like, oh, sure, dumps it right in the thing. I was like, you do, yeah, yes, Liu Kang, nice, good work. He,
And also that's
they
him. We see her talking to a black guy. We always know it's Jax, but it's funny enough because Jax in the film was supposed to be played by a different actor. His name was Steve James. Unfortunately, I think in 1993 he passed away. And then they brought in a different actor to play him. I think that guy Gregory McKinney is an actor. I think he was like an extra. They told me, you played the role, because that's why I think they replaced Jax with Art, the character of Art, the other martial artist.
I didn't know that happened. Wow, that's a real shame.
Yeah, because the actor who we were gonna bring to play Jax was a martial artist, for what I understand.
Right, so they probably would have had a bigger plan for Jax.
Yes, in this
movie. In the film at some point, yeah.
Yeah, they brought the sequel. They brought Jax, but they hadn't played with that actor from American Gladiator.
They did, yeah. So and he has his proper metal arms, and they are grafted to him. They are not grown organically. So
yes,
it's good. The way again, Annihilation, not a good film, but it accepts that Mortal Kombat has mystical elements that you don't need to explain. That's part of the stuff. But yeah, like it's. I think the film is. I'm not going to tell you it's wildly well acted. It's not. Like there are standouts, but largely it's
It's mostly for the cheesy moments, like "Your soul is mine" by Let's became Cary-Hiroyuki's catchphrase now. Yeah.
Cary, everything he did, honestly, to me was just perfect. Like that was he just ate. He lived and breathed Shang Tsung for this film.
And Raiden was played by Chris Lambert. He was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun with the girl. I'll play smooth guy. The whole movie.
I was reading the IMDb trivia, and I saw that apparently they couldn't afford him for the island, only for some shots in LA, and they were going to use a stand-in on the island. But he was feeling so good about the film that he came and did it for free, and paid for the rap party. And I was like, man, he just must have really enjoyed. And apparently, he's just an avid video game player. No,
I think really he was excited also to come back, because, like I said, it was great seeing him. Even though I know it's a whitewashing, but it was great seeing him back as Raiden in the Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah. And he's having, as you say, he's having fun. Because I was watching it sometimes, like, man, I'm not feeling all of this. And you read up about it and you think, you know what, actually, you can understand how things panned out this way. And he is a fun take on Raiden. He just is.
Raiden's a very serious this is not like a serious stuff, but you know what, I'll have fun with it. Because sometimes you watch the actors, like, they do movies, it's like, man, this is bad, but I'm gonna overact and stuff. But he knew, I'm not gonna go very over the top. I try to keep it a little bit subtle. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing with the script.
Oh, well, there's another thing as well. When it was Christopher Lambert and Cary, when those two were speaking to each other, that was like serious acting. It felt they were going for it. It's when Sonya chases Kano under the boat, and he comes down. And he's so he brings out Scorpion and Sub-Zero for the first time.
Yes.
And Raiden comes down, and he's like, they have that interaction. He's like, hey,
not now. Save it for later for the fight.
Yeah, it's like not now, sorcerer. Like really, you could tell that while he was kind of blasé about a lot of the other stuff, he was very serious about Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
And it's good. Everyone in the film takes Shang Tsung seriously, and that's what makes that, combined with Cary's performance, makes it a really good character. I like those kinds of elements. It's the kind of thing that 2021 didn't have any of that at all. No belief in any of these people. Whereas I could see, if you told me you were bringing Robin Schubeck, it's been a long time now. I imagine it wouldn't work, but you know, as Robin Show, sorry, right?
Yes.
As Liu Kang, I'd be like, yeah, no, he looks like Liu Kang, and he can deliver what is not a complicated performance. Liu Kang is the hero. People want him to be the hero. He plays protagonist. That's what he does. Pretty generic protagonist.
Also, the only difference between 2021 and this, they focus. I think they made an ensemble piece. That one they focused on one character.
Yeah, which was a bad character.
Yeah,
it's Cole Young. No.
Because, like I said, when 2021 came out, I told someone, it's like, they needed a James Gunn type of guy to do more combat.
Yes.
Because you saw what he did with Suicide Squad. It's like, if you could see someone who can do what Suicide did more combat, I think it would do well.
I need to watch that Suicide Squad. Still haven't watched it.
Wait, you didn't saw the Suicide Squad?
I have not seen it.
Man, you have to watch it. It's better, man.
I'm definitely gonna watch it because I do like James Gunn. I love what he did.
It will make you forget about the trash one. That was the first one.
You know, I will say though, to my credit, didn't watch that one. So
thank God. Don't watch it. Watch the second one because James Gunn knew what he was doing. They gave him carte blanche to do whatever he wants. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna embrace everything and I'll make a Suicide Squad movie. Yeah. Seriously, because Suicide Squad, you don't know who's gonna survive and who's gonna live. You're like, wow, they did this decision, because decisions you're like, you would not be shocked that they did with the film.
I fully intend to watch that film at some point. Just, you know, when
this is what I want from more combat, because if you're gonna do more combat, do something like this. It's like, okay, who's gonna survive, who's gonna live? Because that's one thing I want to see.
That would be really good. I mean, they kind of did in games. They kind of did that with the reboot, and that was really good. And they continued that into 10, 11, and 10 wasn't that great, but you know, whatever.
10 I think for me was very weak. Because mostly because they focus on the new characters than the OG characters.
The combat kids, those combat kids, man.
Yeah.
And
at least they fixed them in 11. 11, at least they made sure they fixed them.
Yeah, and again, I'm a big fan of like one of the voice actors in particular, Johnny Young Bosch.
Yes, he was one of them. He was, I think, Kinshi's son.
Yeah, he's the
Takada, who I think is his Jackie Briggs' boyfriend. I mean.
Yes. Yeah. God, I forgot about Jackie Briggs. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, she was actually in the Kombat 11.
And because it was two guys, two girls, right? Cassie
Cage is Johnny and
Cassie Cage, yes. That's in Jackie Briggs, yes, of course. And then you had
I think
I actually don't remember.
I forgot the third one, the fourth one. I think I know his name Kung Lao. I think he's related to Kung Lao. I think I'm not mistaken.
He is, yeah, he is a descendant, isn't he? But kind of what Liu Kang says he is in this film in 1995. Says
well, that's what they are. I think in the mythology, like they're descended from Kung Lao. Like there's two Kung Lao. One's like the ancient war Kung Lao. That one's the second one, like who's with them, his best friend.
Oh, I didn't realize there was actually two different people. Yeah. Okay, because the first Mortal Kombat was won by Kung Lao, right? Yeah. That's the thing. That's the lore in general.
Yes.
So yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, they've done such an interesting storytelling decisions in the game.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't replicate that. I don't want to say literally replicate.
All what most of us like, okay, how can we make this cheaper? That's one.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's probably it, right? I mean, I guess you can't.
There were some sites like, man, it's kind of just something like them when they're outside talking to Reddit. It's kind of they're shooting in the studio, like, you know, when they're on the boat. You can see it. And there's also the part where Johnny's fighting Scorpion. That's kind of it's like it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be NetherRealm, but it's kind of it's shot in the studio. But they was like, hey, you know what? We can just our limitation and focus on the main house and what we can afford. They knew exactly how to focus on their budget with this one.
Yeah, I guess no one's shelling out
Yeah.
the hundred, like
Mm.
the billions for for a Mortal Kombat film, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's the potential of a Mortal Kombat film is so great
Yeah.
that I think that's when it becomes a shame when even this one doesn't quite get there. Didn't
Yeah.
quite reach. It's the closest one they ever got, which is even more baffling. That over the years, someone didn't go, "Hey, we could do a good one." No, you don't want to do that. Okay, all right, fair enough. You know, they did the one that people kind of respond to, which is still 1995 more
Yeah.
than anything.
There's
But you
also
know,
the animated films, and if you've seen them,
yeah, I haven't seen them.
there's a new one
I
coming called Snowblind. It's about Kenshi.
really
Yeah.
okay.
There's one
Okay,
called Scorpion's Film, which is about focused on Scorpion. The second one's called Battle for Earthrealm, that focuses on Liu Kang.
got you.
Yeah, they had what's his name, Joel Michael voicing Johnny Cage.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
he's good in
interesting.
it. He's actually the highlight of the films.
So he's in all of the animated ones.
Yes, I don't know if the first to the third one. I don't know about their because there's no one else of the original cast. Expect maybe
Right.
Sub Zero. I meant characters, not cast. I know
Oh,
Sub.
sorry. Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, broadly, you said what you said. The plot for this film is
It's simple,
it's
like
it's very simple. Yeah,
yeah,
like and that's fine. It's not a problem. You know, it's a tournament to
yeah,
decide the fate of Earth,
yeah,
and you know, there's a bad guy that wants to do bad things and he steals
yeah.
souls.
Yeah,
And
we
he's
see what's
working
it
for a bigger bad guy.
what's his name? We see look, you mentioned essentially like Liu Kang. He fights a black guy. He defeats him, and then we
Yeah.
see what's her name? Sonya. She fights Kane, and I read that they made sure at least this fight. If you notice, Bridget Wilson, they made sure that this is the highlight fight between the other with Kano. They made sure that at least she was good in this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she defeats him, and then she kills him. Then you see what's his name? Yes. Then that's after we get the fight between. This actually, I actually do like this fight, the Scorpion, the Johnny Cage fight. And Scorpion here, they got what's his name? Ed Boon to voice him.
Yeah.
That's
Get
Ed Boon's
over here.
voice. Yeah.
Get down here. Ed Boon's voice. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel like they could have actually directed him well with his voice acting.
Yeah. It's it's fine for what it
Yeah.
was. It just was what it right.
And
I
after that,
thought
we got the Kitana fight, where she tells him like they will have to
that
defeat
was
him Sub
weird.
Zero. And
That
the
was
only
so
reason he
weird.
didn't kill her because what's his name? We know they only call him the Emperor, but we know that they're talking about Shao Kahn. If you're familiar with the more combat lore, because he didn't because that she's his adoptive daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They Shao Kahn. She does explain when they go into that Shao Kahn beat they beat Outworld at one
Yeah.
point. It used to be
She's actually
beautiful
the real
and
hire of afterwards, but then Shao Kahn he killed her
yeah,
dad. But I mean, we didn't mention the mom because we later found out. I think even the sequel, and the more combat that her mom was in cahoots with Shao Kahn. She's their
yeah,
lovers.
Sindel, right?
Yes, Sindel.
Yeah, it's that whole. So she goes into that a little bit. That the fight between her and Liu Kang
There
was
wasn't a fight.
honestly
It's basically it's like just them
it was
dancing.
it was look. It was just an excuse for them to get real close. That's
Yeah.
literally what it was. And there's
Because they
literally
are
again
lovers, I think, in the lore, Mortal Kombat lore.
talking about slow down the slow motion shots.
Yeah.
There's one bit where Liu Kang does the most simple sideward takedown, so like of Kitana, real gentle, and they slow it down, and I'm like, why are you doing this? It's just not like don't understand. But
Yeah.
obsession with slow mo shots for some reason. I guess it
Uh-huh.
was something at the time, right? But again, yeah, Kitana's whole role in this film
That's not
is
just like, okay, why is she in this movie? Because apparently they were gonna have Jade in the movie. It's like, man, there's too many characters.
He's especially what just didn't make sense that like Shang Tsung was very wary about like that we cannot have her mingling with the EarthRealm people.
Why did
She
he make her
didn't
fight?
do
You know, why did he make her go close and fight? Liu Kang? Because I know that in Mortal Kombat 9, they don't see each other, but she fights Liu Kang, and then Liu Kang finds out that she's only doing this because her father. Then he's like, he decides to help her. Then that's what her father.
Yeah.
because at least they did some stuff. They handled it better. Basically, Mortal Kombat 9 handled the story between Liu Kang and Kitana better.
Yeah, and again, again, the modern games have done a better job of telling the stories because it's in the control of the people that know the characters. That makes perfect sense. The whole situation with Kitana in this film is just her role is just to be there as, honestly, she's there as a romantic for Liu Kang.
Yeah.
To allude to it, it's really just what she's there for,
Uh-huh.
and that's fine. You know, you want a pretty woman in the film that's playing a character that maybe they had plans later on.
Bond girls, like, hey, we got a Bond girl, let's put her in the film.
Yeah, and like maybe they had, with the idea of going into the second film, she's the daughter of Shao Kahn. They do bring that up, like the adopted daughter.
I think basically they didn't set it up because it's like I mentioned, because I have not seen the sequel, never have I seen it, but it's kind of obvious they're trying to set her up with the Shao Kahn and Sindel.
Yeah, and it's it didn't work, unfortunately. It is what it is.
I've seen that video clip of Sindel's bad acting.
Oh yeah. It's, man.
We're not gonna talk about it. Maybe one day when you review the Annihilation, we'll talk about it, but not today.
I don't know if you could convince me to watch Annihilation, but maybe
I might get Andy to watch it if you can.
Look, if we torture Andy with it, I might go through the torture too, and we can talk. But honestly, I'm messing around. Really, what's an hour and a half of your life, really?
Yeah, at least it's not always that Batman v Superman, the 2 hour, 3 hour, or the Transformers movies.
Oof. Yeah.
I have all of them on the list with the exception of Bumblebee because that's the good one. I
guess I got burnout on Transformers kind of thing.
That's the reason why Bumblebee, since it did well, the box was not huge because of the burnout of the last Transformers movies.
Right.
You should watch it. It's basically Iron Giant and E.T.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't watched Iron Giant. I've watched E.T.
It focuses on the relationship between Bumblebee and the girl who helps him.
I've thought Iron Giant a lot in multiverses.
Maybe I should start playing, man. When do you think they'll get Scorpion? Did they announce if Scorpion's coming to multiverse? Because they have to put him.
They didn't. It's actually quite surprising they didn't bring more details to Evo when they were there. But I know they've detailed that obviously Rick and Morty.
I mean, they have Rick and Morty and Arya Stark. I mean, they can't have Scorpion.
I think they will at some point. Yeah. Everyone went crazy with the rumors that we might get a new Kombat. Is what NetherRealm is supposedly working on right now, right?
Because of the rumors, because they're doing it because WB wants to sell their game division. They want to
so
more Kombat because I think they own the rights to more Kombat. NetherRealm, just like, hey, at least we do we have no rights issue with doing Injustice 3.
Yeah, because exactly. If they did Injustice, they'd have to fight DC. If they ended up on the receiving end of the bad end of the sale, right? And that's unfortunate. And the
rumors they said they might do a Marvel game. That's the other rumor.
That, who could blame them, right? It's you.
I think because Ed Boon one time talked about it. It's like, I met with Marvel. I think that was, I don't know if that was before they did more Kombat now or Injustice. I don't know, but he said he one time did met them, but I don't know exactly when.
I mean,
Ed Boon is also known for being a troll also sometimes.
He very much is. I remember the Game Awards situation where it's family, family, and best family game, and then more Kombat, right? For 11, I was like, wow.
But I do like him, Ed Boon. Like,
oh yeah, he's great.
I must respect that. How many years has he been working on the Mortal Kombat franchise?
Man.
Yeah. 11 games in this franchise. That doesn't count the spin-offs and.
Over, I'd say, 30 years? The guys, I mean, consider when they started development, I guess, maybe more. Man, dude's been like in 3 decades, I imagine.
Must respect to him and his team who worked in. 1992 was the first game that came out.
It's literally 30 years. Yeah. And he just seems like such a humble dude for a guy that's got a franchise that went that.
Yeah, while people are getting getting murdered.
Yeah.
Good for
him. He's just
like,
yeah, I'm happy. I whenever I see Ed Boon, I'm like, he seems alright. Kind of, how I grew to like Phil Spencer a lot through how just personable
Yeah.
he is. It's the same kind of thing.
My only worry about NetherRealm if Microsoft end up buying it, because I don't want Mortal Kombat to be an exclusive game.
Yeah, I agree. That's
But at the same time, if I had to pick between EA or Microsoft, I'll pick Microsoft.
Every time, yeah.
Also, Sony, I think, will be a big win for them if they get Mortal Kombat, because now they're very much involved with Evo. I think they own Evo now, right?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Yes.
It'll be a big win for them to get Mortal Kombat as exclusive.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because like Street Fighter 5 was just
console exclusive, but 6 they said that it won't be exclusive.
No, 6 is multi-platform, because they don't need to be exclusive, and it just doesn't. Exclusivity is being seen as more of a bad thing.
Yeah. Which I know that they now own, they officially own Bungie, and they say Destiny and future games are going to be multi-platform. Maybe that's what they do with NetherRealm, make it multi-platform.
Yeah, it's if it makes business sense for them, that's what they end up doing.
Yeah.
That's just how that ends up. There's Microsoft have been there like, we'll put Game Pass on PlayStation, and PlayStation say to do that. That makes perfect sense, because why would they want to just fill Microsoft purses?
Also, this article, there's clickbait people saying, Microsoft are claiming that Sony is blocking their games to be on Game Pass. And I was reading, I was like, isn't this called exclusivity? Because I was like,
timed exclusives,
yeah, exclusive. People saying like, hey, it should be exclusive thing. I mean, isn't right now, if you look at movies, like Sony has a deal first round with Netflix, like for a period of time, their movies are going to be on Netflix before you move on to other streaming services. So
here's the thing, Yaz, right? When you're talking about these articles, right? You just tell the blatant, the main facts, 10 clicks. You make it a fanboy war, 100 clicks. Like
Tim Geddes now what happened to him with the God of War comments.
Yeah, which was not his fault. He was very clear. He was very clear about what he was saying. And he clarified as well, and people are still going to take it out of context. People are still going to...
Even if you try to make something sense, people will twist it. You try to be nice, you twist it to make it sound even worse.
People believe what they want to believe. That's the thing. And they will use anything that they can grasp at to turn it into what they want it to be. And that really sucks. But it's what people do, unfortunately. And you don't always get the opportunity to have a second go round of people on the internet, where it's like they see the first thing that was said, and that's it. You never said anything ever again. There's no video where you clarified it. That didn't happen. You only said the bad thing or something like that. That's it.
And people sometimes will edit and take the clip and edit to make it sound black. I think one time they took a video of Sam Raimi. He was talking some, they edit. He said, to make it sound like he said, I didn't got no creative difference to handle Doctor Strange. People say that's not what he said. Even posted the original video what he said.
Yeah, that is the beauty of it now. Is counterbalancing's never been easier if you've got the original footage kind of thing. Like, you can clip it like that, but here's the literal unedited, and stop doing it. But again, most people will only ever see the clip as well. That's why it worked, because they don't care. But sorry, that's a massive tangent.
Yeah, I know, but like I said, the whole thing outside there is so much stuff. I mean, heck, like I mentioned, Batman Robin, 30 minutes talking about bat nipples. What do you expect?
Yeah, that's still relevant, though.
Yeah,
that's still relevant to the film. I think the tangents also happen though, because honestly, this film is quite thin. We've pretty much touched on.
Yeah, because they fight. I mean, he goes on and he uses water to defeat, and it's fine because we see Raiden. He purpose. I don't know if he knew something like this was gonna happen, because he places the water and he defeats Sub-Zero. And I see this part, like I said, the special effects with the eyes of Sub-Zero looked at least good, especially for 1995.
And they do a real big close up of Christopher Lambert's face when he puts that water down to let you know. Oh yeah, it's Raiden. He did that.
I mean, sometimes you don't know if he's really doing this or not, because sometimes he's cocky. Because you don't know. It's like, oh, I know stuff will happen. Like sometimes he's planned. Like he's like the chess master. It's like, I've moved my pawns here. Now this is how my plan's gonna work. Because Raiden is known for being cocky.
He is. Yeah. It's the whole thing. It was just it worked, and it's not. This film is, again, it's thin.
Yeah.
But it works. and
Yeah.
I could watch this film again.
Yeah, I
I
can
don't
watch
think
it, but seeing it again, it's like, you know what? I can watch it. I might end up buying the Blu-ray if it's we stuck in Amazon.
yeah. I was thinking about that before I saw it on Prime for free, for the time being. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'd put it on the shelf. Like
yeah.
it's
Over,
it's
I'll
a
take this one, the animated film over the other live action stuff.
yeah, it's a cult classic, right?
Yeah,
That's what I'd say. It's,
yeah.
and it works. It's I saw the 5.8 on IMDb, and I was like, I think that's a little bit
It's
harsh,
actually
right? But
it's in the middle of the road for everyone. It's actually
yeah,
people, but so it's always the movie where stuff. Oh, yeah, so they fight each other. Then, Kano, what's his name? Goro, like we mentioned, the special. Here's one, the practical effect used on him is also looked good, and the puppetry. And I told you they had difficult time controlling him. And apparently, the visual effects team who did the reptile and the scorpions like palms thing, they
yeah,
actually, they were making fun at the special. And when you look at that, it's like, really, you guys are gonna make fun, especially what you're doing looks bad.
yeah. Your reptile. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
stay in your lane, reptile
Yes.
people. You're not allowed to talk about any
Yeah.
of this.
So Goro, he
Uh,
fights their friend Oz. I do like the art. The moment he turns to look at Goro, it's like, "Oh, I'm dead." He gives the look like, "Yeah, I'm dead,"
yeah,
and he does.
I like that Johnny Cage was very confident about where Goro's penis was going to be
I mean, he
because
did hurt his hand. It was very stone.
yeah, I was gonna say because like, can you imagine if he'd have punched that and Goro just looked down and is like, "What are you doing?" It's like, is that not
They're
where
doing
the
a nod to
Shokan
Bloodsport
penises
and
are? Like,
his other fatality, if not mistaken.
where is the Shokan penis? It's our fingers. It's like, oh no. um, but that could have went very badly for Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
Instead,
he
he
kicked
hit the
his
bingo
ass.
balls. Yes, he did.
And that's why, because I think because when you see because when they're fighting, they zoomed it and back because I think this it didn't look good. I think because like I mentioned, they had some technical problems that's why they zoomed in the back for the fight scene there on the cliff.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's I would like a modern day retelling of that film, honestly, and with some confidence behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
not the same crew of the new one.
I think it'd be unfortunate though, right? Because I think everyone in that film is there. Even Kitana, even the roles I don't think are essential. I'm like, man, if you took any piece out for me, it'd be weird now. It'd be
Yeah,
strange. You need that film
yeah,
as it is. But
yeah,
yeah, there's no reason you couldn't make a great Mortal Kombat film now.
yeah.
There's no reason you couldn't. You just don't want to for some reason,
Hmm.
and it's infuriating.
Yeah. So after they defeat Goro, Shang Tsung, that's where he takes her and Sonya to outer world, and there's where they fight Reptile, and he gets inside the body, and he starts fighting Liu Kang. Liu Kang defeats him with
Yeah,
that bicycle kick, and like I
that is a
said,
good fight.
yeah, the fight
That
between
is a
us was
good
good. I
fight.
think what's his name? Ray Park was the guy who played Darth Maul. He was one of the fighters for by doubles for I think Reptile, or maybe I was wrong, but I don't know, I think he was involved in one of the more combat movies. I don't know if it's this one or Annihilation.
Okay.
Yeah, because they did a great job with this fight, and he defeats him, and then of course, Katana Games he tells him like we have to go inside the temple to fight Shang Tsung. The
Yeah,
Johnny and Sonya and Katana they reject fight. Katana she gets asked or not? Because I know they asked Johnny and Sonya, they both reject, but Liu Kang says I'll do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I think he only asked Johnny.
Yeah, because
He
I
only
don't
asked
think
because
he wants to
yeah,
fight Katana because of her father. Maybe that's why.
yeah. I think yeah. He said no. He made no illusion. Okay, I can't do Sonya. Johnny
Yeah.
Cage, I challenge you, and that's when Liu Kang. No, boom, fight me.
Yeah,
It
because
takes
he's
the thing
because of
off
the
her.
prophecy that he's gonna be the chosen one. That's why he doesn't really want to fight Liu Kang.
Yeah, and it finally lets off one very time at the very end when he takes out Shang Tsung. And I do again when he's defeating Shang Tsung, it is good to see that character basically melting down and realizing that he's no longer on top of the world like he was at the start of the tournament.
Yeah,
He's now being beaten by this dude that he doesn't like, but at no point did Kitana really have much to do with that? So I'm not quite sure why Shang Tsung was like, "Yo, we can't have Kitana messing with like we can't have them talk because she's gonna mess it up." I don't know. Like she made Liu Kang horny, and that made him powerful.
Maybe that's what made powerful. Maybe she's like,
Shang
"Hey, I'll
Tsung.
sleep with you if you defeat Liu Kang." Maybe that's why. Maybe that's what he was thinking.
If you in some of the deleted scenes, you can hear Carrie turn around and he's like, "Oh, the testosterone! Oh my god, I can feel it in his fist." Like that. And that's how I imagine Liu Kang.
Yeah. Of course.
What I'm saying is that wasn't a fireball that he shot.
Maybe that's what it was. At
But
least here,
no,
because they did a great job, and he defeats him. And then I was like, why did he have? Because I know he was trying to throw Liu Kang to trick him with his dead brother, but he defeats Shang Tsung by throwing him on that trap.
there's a bit during that fight when Shang Tsung drops Liu Kang, right, as in onto the floor.
Yes.
And he grabs him, and instead of throwing him onto the bed of spikes, he just throws him to the side. And I'm like, I understand. This is a film. The protagonist has to win. However, why would you have a whole bed of spikes that you clearly designed in your evil?
And also, they're only coming on the dragon side of the floor. If you notice.
Yeah, which feels like you want to talk about budgetary restrictions. It's like the contractor for Shang Tsung was like,
at least
look,
I'll say about the spikes, they were not CG like a scorpion's finger, because you know that they're back coming out from the ground.
Yeah, as I'm saying, you can see the contractor coming like, look, Shang Tsung, we can do the whole floor as spikes, but it's gonna cost you like $2 million. If we just do the dragon, it's gonna be like $500. Like,
Fine, go with the dragon.
I did spend most of the money on this cool black jacket, so yeah, go ahead. Just give me a few spikes on the dragon.
Which you can wear it in the game.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Actually.
Yeah, if you buy Aftermath, you get him. What's her name? It's Shiva and what's the RoboCop.
Oh right, okay, that's cool. I didn't realize
the
that.
second you get Kitana, Milena, Rain, and Rambo.
Oh right, yes, I do remember seeing that pack.
They got Stallone and Peter Weller back for Rambo and RoboCop. Oh no, they didn't brought him for determined. They had only his face.
Oh really?
Yeah, because people, if you notice the video, they bad impersonate. People was like, why? There are hundreds of people who can do great impersonation. Aren't you brought this guy?
Right. Okay. Whereas with Rambo, the big deal was they had Stallone, right?
Yeah.
Or they had the right to Stallone
because
dialogue.
Yeah. He does scream like, "Yeah, that's Stallone. You can't fake this."
Part of me, sometimes I just hope to hear Stallone in roles that aren't Rocky just randomly go, "Yo, Adrian," for no apparent reason, just like randomly in the middle of
with this new movie Cement is coming out in a few days.
Yep, I did not know that, but you might say it there. I just think in the middle of like a killing spree in Rambo, he's like, okay, it's a really quiet moment. He's like, "Hey, Adrian." I mean, no, what? Just moves on. Like,
yeah.
But no, again, the whole situation there at the end of
he defeats Shang Tsung, then his brother Source gets free, and they are alongside the other fighters. They go back home to celebrate. He's like, to see parents like, "Did you know you got him already?" It's like, "Nah, I didn't know nothing." I think he knew exactly that. Imagine if them losing and there's kids celebrating. It's like, let's all celebrate for our new leader.
Raiden just turns up and he's like, "Not gonna lie, lads, thought you'd all be dead." So, But hey, what did we have to lose?
And then you see the Emperor coming, setting up the sequel.
Yeah.
And apparently that's Frank Welker, the voice of Megatron, doing the voice of Shao Kahn.
Man, they hero pose to a sky ghost who somehow inexplicably broke a tower. It's just and then as throughout this film, the of course famous EDM Mortal Kombat track hits. And
I hated the remix for the new one. So many dubsteps.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Whereas the EDM version, that classic version, that's people associate that with Mortal Kombat as much as Mortal Kombat 2. Like they do.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah. So that was Mortal Kombat. It's actually an enjoyable film, and especially now, like, you appreciate more after seeing like I said, the 121 movie, and you see this one's like, man, they really missed the point of the new one. Especially when you consider
Yeah,
like how an old movie, a PG-13 movie directed by a guy who has a reputation for doing now bad video game movies, and when people will hate him, like, oh man, then later you see that the sequels to the movies that they made, you're like, man, you guys are making him look better than you guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we gotta now move on to our final thoughts and our rating. We say like redeemable or unredeemable. And this, if you are in the middle of the road, you say low redemption. But I think I'll make you go first, David. What did you thought of the film? And what's your score?
I think Mortal Kombat 1995 it is it's an easy watch. It's got, it's very dated, it's
Yeah,
nearly 30 years old. It's understandable why so many things there don't quite go the way you'd like them to, but there's certain things that, again, Christopher Lambert's performance at
yeah,
times is like, man, that's a bit weird. The pacing is really, really abrupt,
yeah,
but I kind of like it sometimes where it just gets through things quickly. But we could have done. I feel we could have done with a bit more, you know, uh, team building, a little bit more friendship
yeah,
building between the main three, and but like, Shang Tsung, Cary, Takao, just, man, what a phenomenal performance! Just really owning that role.
yeah,
In my opinion, Mortal Kombat, I think it's redeemable.
yeah,
I think it's redeemable.
yeah. This is for me now, because I haven't seen it for a very long time. Rewatching it is like, especially because I watched it like I think last year, the first Mortal Kombat movies, and seeing this one's like, wow, man, this is better. You get to appreciate more when you watch it. It's not because of the nostalgia thing, but like, you know what? It's actually an enjoyable movie. It's like the fight scenes actually look good, because that's the why you come in to see Mortal Kombat. It's the fights, especially because right now most of the action movies I see fights all you have it in shaky cams a lot. You don't see
Yeah,
really now movies where the cam is steady. You see people fighting a lot. That's one thing. And for all, like I said, like this, the dialogue is kind of cheesy. It's not perfect. I mean, for me, I think this is Paul the best answer best film he has ever done. I mean, I still haven't seen Event Horizon, because I know this also not a well received film, but it has a cult following. But I
yeah.
might when I see it, I might change my opinion. But so far, Mortal Kombat, I think, is his best film to date. And you know what? This is an redeemable movie. I give it deserve to be redeemed. And people, I think, should look at this more than the 20 to 21 movie. And people saying, man, this movie is better, it has fan service. At least, the first one had, the 1995 had a better job handling the characters. They kept it true to the source material, unlike the 2021 movie. They deviated a lot and tried to explain a lot of stuff that they didn't mean necessary. Even the video games, like, they didn't over explain the stuff, like how they got their power and anything. David.
I'm with you. Yeah, sorry. So yeah,
That's
didn't
okay.
mean to. I thought you might have had a follow up there for something. But no, I agree. Yes, this film is redeemable. It is, of all the things they've done with Mortal Kombat, side of the more modern, I think this, in terms of like a mainstream proper attempt at bringing Mortal Kombat to a wider audience,
Hmm.
it has the heart and soul of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
It misses on a few things
yeah,
that, as we've discussed. There's a lot of scenes that didn't really need to happen. There's the special effects that weren't great, but I feel that if someone would have just said, "Hey, let's really think about what made this a good, like, what's so good about this," and really leaned into the Mortal Kombat element of it, not tried to go down the animality thing they did, rather like just really focus on
and
that.
I mean, they had one
Yeah,
friendship scene in the movie. Just like with this one movie, they knew exactly. Hey, no, we're not taking ourselves very seriously. We met Chris
yeah,
Lambert laughing, saying sorry, and then some cartoon sound effect. And the friendship was
yeah.
like, hey, look, we're not taking ourselves seriously.
And they also know, like we discussed earlier, when to take it
Yeah,
seriously. When there's a character, like they're trying to create. If you want to make a character a credible threat, you have to take them seriously, and that's what they did with Shang Tsung.
yeah,
The Carrie's performance is a stellar performance.
yeah. And he'll always be Shang
So
Tsung, and thank God they brought him back for the games. And even
yeah,
with Chris
yeah,
Lambert and Lyndon Ashby and Bridget Wilson, because
yeah,
Bridget Wilson this is her first time acting in years, because she's retired for the what's it?
Right.
The Mortal Kombat 11 game, not this one.
Right. Okay. And that's
Yeah.
the first time coming back in a long time. Okay.
Yeah.
Because she's Bridget
Did I say Bridget Wilson or
Wilson
Nielsen? Because
No, it's not Nielsen. It's Wilson.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wilson. I mean, if I said Nielsen, that's a different. I think that's the different actors also.
Bridget Wilson Sampras, and if I'm not, is that she might be married to?
Yeah, because
Pete
now she's
Sampras?
married. That's why I think she left, because she's family. That's why.
Yeah, is Pete Sampras a tennis player? I think I'm not not entirely sure, but I could be completely wrong, and it could be a comedy who Mr. Sampras. So they ultimately, I think Mortal Kombat 1995 is just. It is a fun watch. I think even now, even younger people playing the Mortal Kombat games, if you had one film to recommend to them, it's like, what Mortal Kombat should I watch? Watch 1995. You watch that. Yes, it's dated, but you should get more of a feel for the characters you think you know in the game versus what 2021 is, what Annihilation really was. It's just, it's good. It's not great.
She's married to
it's not amazing.
A tennis player, Pete Sampras.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So there we go. Yeah,
he's retired. He's no longer playing.
No, they are just having family fun times. Yeah. That's it.
I'm also glad to see her. Like, you know what? I'll come back to do like more combat for the video game. I'm glad to see her. She came back.
I wonder if you got to wonder sometimes if there's just some sort of nostalgia in them with it. If they're like,
it was like, Lyndon, but I'm actually bummed that they didn't get Robin Schubeck for, what's his name, Liu Kang.
Liu Kang, it is a shame. I honestly, again, I really thought they did, and I guess probably at the time I knew because I was actually paying attention to the game. But now,
you should try 11. It's a great game. It's also an easy platinum if you want to unlock achievement.
Yeah, I mean, I've played 11. Yeah, I just haven't done Aftermath. That's the only part I haven't done. And I guess I didn't really think about whether or not they brought anyone back for Liu Kang. And there are when you talk about the voice acting talent pool, there are a lot of people. A lot of Robin's performance in this film was the fact that he looked very much like the Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Versus his actual performance, which I still think was good.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to write home about. It's just it's a serviceable. I believe you as Liu Kang. That works. That's all you can really ask for at the very.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they all accomplished that to many degrees. I think that most of the cast does that, and the only people that kind of fall by the wayside, again, like Kitana for having a role that didn't need to really be there. Even Sub-Zero and Scorpion, they don't play as major a role as you maybe would like them to, being such popular characters.
I think because when they were big, they came just like, hey, they are the mascots, but because most of the time they were focusing on Liu Kang as the hero, because they didn't give them, I think, a backstory. Up until recent games, they gave them more backstory to their.
And again, ultimately, like what's cool about Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they're ninjas. That's really what the
their
if you want to talk
iconic.
About. That base level of why are they cool? They're ninjas. That's really what it is. And the design, the gold Scorpion, the blue Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
That's it.
Black for was it brown, gray for what's his name? Smoke.
Noob Cyber or
Black.
Smoke,
Black, Red, I think, is for Ermac.
Ermac, and then you got Rain as purple, and then
purple Rain. There was.
Then you got the android.
What's his name? Cyrax and
Cyrax.
Semtex.
Or
Sector.
Is it Sector?
Yes.
Wow. For some reason, Semtex came to mind, and I'm pretty sure that's a type of explosive. I'm not sure. But nice. The Mortal Kombat games. There's a reason they've stood the test of time.
Yeah.
It's what you've said a lot in this review. Actually, they don't take themselves too seriously, but they know when to be serious
and not to explain so many stuff. It's like, there's people with magic. That's it.
Yeah, Liu Kang can shoot a fireball because he's a warrior monk, and he learned how to shoot a fireball. Yeah. That's just how that works.
And for some reason, the movie had to explain. This for some reason it's based on the character stuff. Like, how the hell did what's his name, Kung Lao, the new movie with the hat spinning?
Yeah. Oh, how did he get the bladed hat? They put blades on a hat. There's no. You don't. You can't. You don't need to explain that. Why Why did Jax get metal arms? Oh, he grew them. That's terrible. Whereas, like, oh, these were grafted onto him. That makes more sense. Do they like just,
Yeah,
you
why is
telling me?
what's his name? Kano has laser from his eyes because he
Yeah.
has a
Oh,
device in his eyes, the laser device.
he got really angry at lunch,
Yeah.
and that's how he got laser eye. That is really weird. And it's 20. Look, if we were talking about 20, we've spent a lot of time bashing 2021
It
because it's
deservedly. I mean, this is actually
deservedly
a
so. Yes.
preview for when you do 2021 one day.
I would do that just to talk shit about 2020. So,
Yeah.
Sorry, are we allowed to? I just swore. My apologies.
No, it's okay. It's an E for expert language who I put in also.
Okay. Just making sure. Sorry, I didn't
I
actually
think
check
I
for you
said
beforehand.
even the F bomb in one of the videos. I mean, if you are, I even told you like Mark and Andy said the C word in one of my podcasts,
That is true, but that you could have had a parental advisory sticker.
all the episode has been to like that, but I make sure at least we see someone make sure we not even at least we can, because sometimes YouTube is like, okay, so is this a family video or not?
These naughty words were brought to you by 2021's one of the worst films that has ever existed.
Yeah.
Like this pretty much brings it out. I mean, it brings the rage out.
Yeah.
But it's funny about that, right? You have that moment of catharsis when you get those annoyed feelings out,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't matter anymore, right? It's just a film. Like
I know. It's happened to me a lot. Sometimes, like, even then after watching the movie, it's like, why am I being mad at a movie? It's just a movie. I mean, I was like, jeez.
I get that with games all the time. Sometimes I go like, man, this is a bad game after 60 hours. I do feel like you wasted my time a bit. Whereas movies, a bit.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a video game, it's like you mentioned. See, now it's $70. It's like, man, I paid $67 for this piece of crap.
Yeah,
That make this one's like at least you can rent a movie or maybe watch it on film streaming. Because I think now one of the reasons I think people don't get mad at movies because they're streaming, you can watch them for free. People like that's why sometimes when I watch movies, like I hear movies bad and then I remember, oh, that's why I don't hate it because I saw it on streaming. That's why.
Yeah. And I think it does. It gives an opinion to more people, so you hear more voices. But also, I think you're less invested because you didn't put them on. You didn't pay anything most of the time. Maybe a subscription fee.
And also because sometimes you watch a franchise, you see movies like, no, why did you guys go do this? You should be going this. A good example is the new Predator film. Like the last one, the Predator, they already done a lot of stuff. I mean, I have not seen, but this is what I've heard. Then the new one, Prey, they kept it simple. Is a guy there, a predator hunting a prey. That's what the movie's about.
Is that what Prey is? I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it was a Predator film.
It's a Predator film. Everyone's talking about it.
Wow,
go watch it. It's on Disney Plus.
Is it? See, I'm not good with horror. I'm not sure how Predator's more of an action thing, right? But then I don't know.
It's more like a survival movie.
Mm.
Yeah, because this one.
I've never understood Jazz. Just to put a kind of a bit of thought out there. What we were just talking about there, in terms of time investment and stuff. When people they watch a film,
yes,
and they go, "Oh, I want my hour and a half back."
Yeah.
I'm always really as a game player, and you play games yourself, and I'm sure you understand. Yeah, you can sink a lot of money and time into a really kind of wastes your time, but an hour and a half or a 2 hour film, I'll come out of that and I'm like, all right, I don't want my 2 hours back because what am I gonna do with it? What do you mean? It's really not that bad. Whereas you can spend a week playing Elden Ring. If you don't like Elden Ring, you wasted a week on Elden Ring. That's a long time.
I mean, I just bought Dark Souls. The Dark Souls games on sale on PSN.
By the way, just to stamp my bit of clarity on that one, I love Elden Ring.
Who doesn't? But I still haven't played because it's been a while since I played that Souls game. Because I also, like I said, the prices also they're been increased for the PlayStation consoles. I have to be careful on what to buy.
Okay. I mean, sorry, Yaz, I've never actually asked you. Where are you based?
The Middle East. I don't want to specify which country because I want to keep...
No, I understand. Sorry, I didn't want to put you on the spot. It's just when you said the prices have gone up, I was like, yeah, because I hear that it can get quite expensive.
I buy most of my games on Amazon US because my PSN account is the US account.
Oh, right, nice. That works. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear like especially like places like Australia, for instance, like games are just ridiculously expensive because of import taxes and stuff like that. I don't know. My understanding is just a lot to bring
Australia
over
also
there.
has some weird censorship rules with video games.
Oh, they sure do. What a history they've got trying to bang Grand Theft Auto a lot in.
Yeah.
It's like,
How
yeah,
many? Because it has drugs in them.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Again, it is always for weird reasons in Australia. But yeah, like the whole time investment of the film.
Yeah.
We watched Mortal Kombat 1995. I don't feel even if I didn't like this, and I did like what.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't, I wouldn't feel cheated. I'd be like, okay, I gave it a shot, didn't like it. It's like I feel like it's trying like a burger. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, I'm not a fan, but it was a burger, innit? I'm not going to get mad about it. That's pretty much where I stand on stuff like that. So I always find it really when you see like the film critics in particular, not all film, some of them. That's an hour of my life I will never get. I'm like, all right, lad, calm down.
The only time I would tell people that they have the right to say these words when they watch The Love Guru. It's my worst movie I've ever seen in my life. If you come to me and tell me, it's like, you know what, you have the pass. You can have say to take argue this, to talk crap about this movie, whatever you want. Other movies.
Is that the Mike Myers one?
Yes, the one where he plays an Indian type. He tries to be an Indian guy.
Does. He sure does try, doesn't it? It did not work. But like, you know,
Andy,
ultimately, I'm just
I
kind
think
of like,
he said he wants to be part of this review.
Oh man, you know, I just think in those situations, I'm like, mate, have a chamomile tea, calm down, just enjoy life again, mate. You'll be all right. But you know, it's all
one time I get mad on the movie. Sometimes they would give people like, oh, he's a name. They gave him mine. Then you see the movies like he didn't know what the hell they were doing. Like Dan Aykroyd, he did a movie called Nothing But Trouble. Then when you read about the behind the scene films, like he didn't know what he was gonna do with the direct. He didn't want supposed to direct a film. It's like nobody wanted to direct the film. It's like fine, I'll do it. He didn't know what they were doing. The people who are working behind the camera, just like, hey, they would gaslight him ideas on how to build stuff and sets in the movie, and then characters they were unnecessary for the film. Was like, man, isn't one gonna play this character? They said no. He's like, fine, I'll play this character. Even the ending of the film, you watch the movie, it's like, okay, what's with this ending? You've read it's like you couldn't find the ending. Then I was like, this is the best idea I have for the ending. Anyone has good idea? They all told him no. It's like, fine, I'll shoot this ending. This is another reason why it's not like you just like, oh, you give money to a guy just because he's a name.
Yeah, that's a lot of Hollywood, right? As well.
Yeah.
Cachet is carries a lot with people's names.
Even Monster Truck, I think they spent 150 million on this movie. And do you know how this movie got made? Monster Truck.
No.
The son of an executive, I think he's a 5-year-old. He told his dad, I have an idea for a movie. It's a truck and there's a monster living inside. He's like, ooh, that's a good idea. He had $150 million. Make a movie about this idea.
I mean, that's unfortunately that is Hollywood, right? And like,
yeah, a 5-year-old, this is the joke. That a 5-year-old, this is like, oh, for this one it did, and it cost Paramount to lose lots of money, and people got fired. Basically, a 5-year-old made this. People get fired. You see the list: HR, the vice president, the head of this subsidiary, people were getting fired. He cleaned the slate on the studio.
A monster truck, just like basically. I was like, well, there goes your entire place. That's it. It's done. I think to myself, like, you imagine Christopher Nolan can walk into any room anywhere right now and
because he makes money. It's like, I am Christopher Nolan. I can make you money.
Yeah, it's like, I have been considering making a film about this ham sandwich, and everyone will be like, well, here's a few million. Like, here's hundreds of millions. What are you gonna do about it, Nolan? What's so interesting about the ham sandwich?
It's like it's a ham sandwich, melted.
Yes. There's mustard inside of it. Oh my god, what a twist! So yeah, that kind of stuff is just not that Christopher Nolan would necessarily.
I mean, if you make a studio's mind, you get more power.
This is it. Yeah, exactly. You can kind of just do whatever you want. And
even Spielberg, I think, because now his movies do not do well at the box office, doesn't have that much power. Even Scorsese, but that's why you see him now. He's moving to Apple because Apple, they're giving him more money and stuff to do now with movies he wants to make.
Well, like people like Spielberg, really, no one is too big to fail, right? And then you've got the stuff that happened with the Indiana Jones movies and people just having a big backlash against Spielberg. Yeah. And I don't know whether I'd call it deservedly so or whatnot. I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan, so
I mean, 4 because they were multiple, so they didn't know what they were doing. It's like George Lucas had final saying to what to do. And now the new one, they're doing it with James Mangold. Spielberg's like, I think like he doesn't want to do another Indiana Jones movie. It's like, you know what, just give it to James Mangold. I'm going to work with some other stuff I want to make. He went to do a West Side Story, which sadly not a lot of people went and saw it when it came out.
That's a shame. But it's like, ultimately, I think Hollywood's an interesting thing, and I think all these things that are businesses now are really interesting, especially when the creative endeavors, because a creative endeavor becoming a business is almost an oxymoron. It just shouldn't work, because you should be passionate about what you're working on.
Yeah.
If you to make a good product, but that's just not always the case. Sometimes things off.
Like I said, there's mostly money and stuff. People like you go on, then just like, hey, why can't they just make these movies and you feel like. Because nobody's going to see them when they come out theatrically. They always find them when they're on home video and streaming. And people like, hey, why can't you? Because like, where were you guys when you first came out theatrically? If you guys want to support this type of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I always think about that with a lot of games as well. Where I'm
even
like,
Dread, that was the last Dread movie with Carl Urban, which is better than the one with Stallone. That movie was good. I mean, and unfortunately, because of the bad marketing and the bad testimony of the last Judge Dredd movie, it left people with the bad that didn't went and saw it. And people like, why can't we get a sequel? And everyone's like, nobody went and saw the film. If you want to say it, come out, it's like, it's a good movie. It didn't help with people.
Yeah, and I want to say I'm with you there. I thought Dredd was really good.
Yeah,
very deserving of people's attention. And
Carl Urban, man, he's amazing.
Carl Urban is finally, because of The Boys, largely getting the attention he deserves. He is. I keep
expecting every time to see him to say the C word.
Yes,
I was watching. I haven't finished watching the movie. It's called Sea Beast on Netflix. Because he does a voice every time I was listening. It's like, is he gonna say the C word or not?
I'm expecting, if it's not a C word, it's just a smarmy remark like, "Miss me," like just something like just that. Oh look, give us a hug. Like that kind of like.
I do actually hope to see the 4th season of The Boys. They have to end it in maybe to because I think they're about to end the story. They have to end it maybe. I don't know, because I feel like they have to end the story because now I don't want them to overstay the long for, because I know this is actually the Amazon's #1 like this show, but I don't want to turn to another. What was it? Walking Dead.
Yeah, that did happen with Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That should have ended long before. I don't want to obviously throw any spoilers. That should have ended at a certain point that I think you can consider, and even before that, I still feel like it should have ended.
I mean, now it's already ending, but they're doing spin-offs now and movies apparently. People are like, why?
The thing with the movies is the movies always kind of make sense, because they said that when the pivotal point that I was talking about, where quote unquote should have ended, in my opinion, that character, it's unresolved. So I feel like that needs to finish, because man, it's hard to talk about that. I'm really trying not to spoil anything. But that character...
I know, because something happens to a character like that, I would say this.
Yeah, and they are a pivotal character. They are, in my opinion, the most important. So, when things happen and they may or may not be around, that weakens that show.
Yeah.
I didn't watch after how they did.
I mean, I have been seeing only the first scene. I stopped. People was talking about it, but I seeing mixed people response of the show. It's like, man, I'm not gonna watch another episode.
Yeah, I will say one thing. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who ended up playing Negan.
Yeah, he's amazing in everything I've seen him.
He is fantastic. That man is...
He's in Taken, for crying out loud, as a character as Negan.
Really? Oh yeah, in the game. Yeah,
people are like, wait, what?
Yeah, that was a weird reveal. I remember.
I think someone pointed to this. I think he tweeted. I think it's a joke. Put Negan in Taken, and then after the reveal, he's like, "Guys, I was joking. I didn't mean it."
And they just did it, and it's bizarre, but it works. it's all right. I was happy about it. And again, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he just seems seems like such a cool dude as well, just generally.
And he was also,
nice
in Batman versus Superman. He was Batman's dad.
I did not know that.
In the beginning
wow.
of the film, remember the flashbacks when you see the
I've never
parents
watched.
die?
I'm gonna go ahead and reveal that one. I have.
Now you don't have to see it as Batman v Superman.
I will. When Greg Miller was going around saying that it's a good movie, wanted to support Greg, and I just never watched it.
Good one. Or if you can watch it, because I know there's the director's cut, the Ultimate Edition, which is 3 hours long. People like.
You know what I think put me off a little bit was I like Ben Affleck. I think he's
good.
An all right
he's
dude.
good in as Batman. I'll tell you this.
Yeah, and I think he got he was run down so much by the press on that film.
Press and even the fan back then
they've been affected the fan base,
him. Yeah. And now I think he's doing well. Thank God he's doing well. He got back with Jill and they got married. He introduced her now to what was it, Dunkin' Donuts now with the new photos.
Oh really?
I think they will cut him and Jill are coming out from Dunkin' Donuts.
I mean I know I like the Kevin Smith films, not as much as Mark. It's our mutual friend, but
we're doing it on Mallrats and Out of Clerks 3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if you want to be, you're welcome.
You know what?
We're also doing Judge Dredd, I think, next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Give me a heads up about the Clerks one in particular.
Okay. I have to talk with Mark and Andy because they're going to be there. Because if I have to get Mark, I have to get Andy too.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's a twofer.
We call them the C words. That's just the nickname.
The C words. I like it. When I saw Ben Affleck up in Reboot, and when he has that such an honest conversation. Sorry, I don't know if you've got.
I have no, but basically you can spoil it. That's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not a big. He's there and he's in it for a moment, and he has a really. It seems like he's just talking to Kevin Smith, not to Silent Bob. He's talking to Kevin Smith, and he's just being honest, and it just seems like he seems happy again, and I'm like, oh wow, it's weird that you did this in a film, but it worked. Okay, so.
Yeah. Have you seen this movie, The Way Back? It's about him being an alcoholic basketball coach.
No, The Way Back.
I think you gotta like it because it kind of feels like therapeutic. This movie because he was suffering from addiction, and you watch this, it's like wow. Because mostly it's not about sports, it's about a guy like he's struggling with his addiction. That's what this movie's about.
There are so many films at this point that I'm behind on, and because I'm a big game person and anime again. You want to bring One Piece into a discussion?
When we're getting the live action TV show, I can't wait to see if this is going to be a good thing or a disaster.
You know what? All I tell myself is it won't ruin the great manga. You can't ruin the manga. I'm surprised
if Oda actually greenlit it as a joke, because I just want to see how much disaster it is. Then I'll use it as a material for the manga.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're gonna make a rubber boy? Okay. and then they did, and he was like, "Oh, I wasn't serious, but all right, fair enough."
Because I like his when he does questions. Someone sends him a question and Q&A, and he answers. I like sometimes his response. Someone ask him about something about cat, and he'll write the character response.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at one point he addressed whether or not Luffy needs to use a condom because he's a rubber man, and genuinely at one point I'm pretty sure he's alright. Well, I mean, he's rubber. You figure it out. Right.
I think now we should stop. Ending the recording because getting stayed too long. But it's great having you talk to David, and I know the ending doesn't turn into a more Kombat type. It was great fun talking to you. But people are like, why did it turn the end to One Piece? But it's okay, guys. I like talking.
I apologize.
That's okay. Heck, I have some anime I have some list. I have Death Note, the live action one, the American one, not the Japanese one. I have also Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson. If you're interested,
I'll gladly watch Ghost in the Shell because that seems like it was more of an action film, whereas the American Death Note just goes against everything that Death Note was, in my opinion.
At least it gave us Willem Dafoe as Ryuk.
They did. You know what? That is quality, actually. But
that's the only thing that the haters and the defenders of this movie universally agree on. That's their Sweden. Yeah.
I just, when you turn Light, the character of Light is a very specific the message behind
Basically,
Death
they
Note as
turn him
well.
into a bitch. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. He's bullied and he's getting revenge. That's not Light. The point of
I
he
mean,
has.
Light actually in the cover, he's like a cool guy. Like he, and also there's a scene. Do you remember the manga and anime where he opens, he looks at his dad, like he's very tired and stuff. You can. This scene for me, I read it. He's like he's tired of seeing his dad. Like he's maybe that's why because he's trying to kill us because he's tired of seeing his dad always come out of work tired and stuff, not doing his job well.
Yeah, well, his whole thing as Death Note in the original source material is the whole point is that Light is very high performing and he has a god complex and is then given the power of God. What does a person with a god complex, a regular human, do? That's the whole point of what Ryuk does. Is like, let's see what kind of mischief happens when this lands in the hands of human, and that human happens to have a god.
It's like, wow, I got lucky. He's like,
yeah.
And if I figure if one Shinigami, it's like, okay, which case should we drop at? Okay, which one should we look at?
And that's the way, you get the American one, and it's like, I've been bullied, now it's time for revenge. And it's like,
and him trying, he sees a girl who's like, he wants to sleep with, and he shows her the book. That's how he hooks up with her.
This is, the character of Light is not about that. He thinks he's above everything, and that's
he's Walter White, is exactly just like Walter White in Breaking Bad. The way the story arc.
Yeah. Are you on about the anime version or the American?
Anime.
Really, I see him a bit differently. I do because he's in a good position. He does.
Yeah, because the way he handles, like he fights his enemies, stuff. You think he can remind me of Walter White. Because the way it's like, I'm doing this something for good, but he's not.
See, it's the self-righteousness, right? Yeah, there is that. Yeah, I see him more as just like he didn't in the anime. He didn't need to. So, you know what? I just realized. Yes. I'm elongating the situation.
That's okay.
No, Death Note's such an interest. The American live action.
I mean, they're doing now another one with the Duffer Bar, the creators of the Stranger Things for Netflix.
I did not know
this
that.
TV show is going to be.
It has okay, so doing a series
it won't be like related to the movie or anything else.
Yeah, I think it's because they with the American interpretation. I think it's because they couldn't understand that like the reason Light's popular is because he's high performing, and the Japanese school system respects that more. Like the popular kids are the smart kids that get high scores on and stuff. Like that's how that works.
For me, when they heard this, the Duff Boys are making us like, nah. I mean, they should do what they did. Look at Squid Game. Give it to a Japanese production company and have them do it. They'll understand their culture very well and they'll do it. I mean, have them maybe US maybe help them because they're not, because if you've seen Squid Game, their English acting is not that good. Have some help go up there and help them with the English acting of the English actors.
I was going to say it's a shame, right? Because a lot of those dub actors are like the guy that plays the main character, Greg Chun, who's there on the Judgment Games, plays the English dub. He's really good. He's in. Yeah, have you played Yakuza Like a Dragon?
I have. I still haven't played it.
Okay. There's a character in that called Namba. He's one of your characters.
Because I know the live action Japanese movie, he's played by the kid from Battle Royale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was also in Yakuza, I think 3, and Yakuza 6, the last one. Yakuza 3, he was actually the guy, like the one with the purple shirt who works in the other Yakuza in the city. His tattoo's not finished. And Yakuza, I think 6, he's the guy. I think. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't played 6.
I've played all of them. I've played all of them.
It's the guy who actually the father of what's his name, Haruka's son.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah. He's not in.
He's in Death Note Dead Light.
Is he?
Yes. Let me check
That's
it.
interesting.
Yeah, you know what? I can talk about it after the show because I think now we have to end because it's getting too long. Thanks, guys, for watching. David, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at David Tom Gault. That's like somebody's fault, but with a G. I'm not really doing anything at the moment on YouTube or anything, but I will hopefully in the new year. So we'll talk about stuff.
Yeah. And you can find me at the YAZ300 on Twitter. For some reason they suspended my old username, YAZ300 Pro on Instagram and Twitter to find links about the podcast. And make sure, like I remember, one final housekeeping reminder to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get 1 million subscribers to make Andy and Joe watch and get tortured seeing Adventures of Achela. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us some good reviews and ratings so that we can continue expanding the podcast. So thanks guys for listening. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.